to swear on live TV, that's all.
How many copies do I need? Who needs a copy?
I'm okay, I don't need one.
Good. I'll take a hard copy. I'm gonna hold
I
on to
think
it,
that's
but I'll
all.
take a hard copy too. Turn that one
I didn't print off any minutes, was I supposed to do that?
No, I didn't
Adam.
either. No, I didn't send it.
We got a minus in this one.
Yep. Let me print off the 26 minutes of this.
And what's the deal with
Do you wanna wait till we get there?
Thank you.
I can explain it.
I think it's there. Yep. Okay, wow, and as long as you can explain it.
Is that all you had to say, and now you're signing? That's
Well,
good.
you-
That's faith right there.
This looks really bad.
Alright, you can call it to order. 6:02. Wednesday, October 9th. Everybody's present. Including Justin and TJ. Ben's got some minutes coming up on the printer.
Yeah, if we can just pass over that for a
Yep.
second here, I'll print them off for everybody.
Okay. So again, when I sent this out, I said that we'd keep it kind of short, so just want to touch base on a couple of these things, and then I'll talk to Bill about the solar stuff and that. But, I talked to you the other day, the generator came.
Yep, it's on
in
site.
place.
It's on site. Strike came yesterday and put together a parts list of what he needed, and he's gonna be back out here to put it in. I told him that it's an emergency, we
Right.
need it like ASAP.
Okay. While
So
we're-
he'll have it this week.
Okay.
I'm sorry, which project is this?
The generator.
The generator.
Okay.
So on site, just needs to be wired.
Yep.
We're hoping Strike does it this week. While we're on that, were they able to get that soft start?
He's still waiting on that to come in from the distributor.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's been months, it feels like.
Yeah.
I have a strike question. So, are they have any work left to do in the headworks?
That's not strike, that's the contract for the,
Okay, so
One
no
strike
elect,
project.
so we didn't have any electrical work done there, so.
yeah, not by strike.
Not by
yet.
strike, that's yeah, that's what I meant. So are we done in there?
Nope, as soon as the mixer comes in, they need to wire that.
Okay,
So we're just waiting on the mixer.
waiting on the mixer.
So they,
Yep.
yeah, they
Chemi-
brought.
The magnesium hydroxide should be in tomorrow. They
Okay.
ordered that from Harcross last week. The problem with that is, they don't stock it there, so it takes like 8 days to get it from their distributor, and then they send it up, and they are in this area on Thursdays. I did get the quote on that too. I could go over it with the budget.
Yeah, we'll do that, the budget. Okay, I don't know if you had this anywhere else on here, but, so we wanna be in a position so that when they come back to put the mixer in and wire it up, that we're ready to start pumping chemical.
Yep.
Right? And
Yep.
that's the position
We're-
we're gonna be in?
yep.
Okay. I just don't want, I wanna be
Containment's
waiting
out
on
there.
them and not them waiting on us,
The
so.
containment's there, we have the chemicals, so.
I was just surprised to see when I went out to look at it the other day, which it's a funny comment that Tobin said about chicken noodle soup, but when I went out to look at it, I was surprised to see that they had gotten to that point, and then we weren't done yet. You know what I mean? Because they got to wherever point they are now. What, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah, we're just still waiting on the mixer.
Okay, so and that's just parts. We're waiting. They're waiting for parts to come in. As soon as
Yep.
those parts are in, they'll put that in. Okay.
Yeah, and so in the meantime, they took home the board and they programmed it and tested it off-site, so this should be really smooth.
Good. Okay.
Because there'll be some timing programmed in there to flush pipes and shut off and all
Yep.
that, so I think they've been doing that off-site.
It's amazing how little work we got for the kind of money that was. So, I mean, it's,
I can only imagine what those LMI pumps are.
Right,
Those
and the
things are-
explosion-proof stuff.
Everything's explosion proof.
Yeah.
Everything's just so beefy.
Yeah,
It's
even
like,
some of those solenoid valves that we were looking at,
Yeah.
when you got into the
Crazy.
real nitty-gritty, they were over $1,000 a piece.
okay, thank you. Sorry, I don't know if I got this off topic, but.
Do you, as far as where we left off with the generator,
Yeah.
the warranty and everything, you wanna tell everybody?
Yep.
Show everybody.
So we got, Courtney came down and did a little dickering with them. So we ended up getting a 75 kW generator, which is bigger,
Mhm.
with less hours.
We were 60, right?
What's that?
Yes.
We were looking at a 60.
Yep.
Yep.
With less hours and a 1-year warranty. So there's the warranty information if you guys want it.
But we were only like $900 difference, right?
Yeah, it was like $900 more for a 1-year warranty, which was going to be like 2,100 or
Right, yeah.
2,300.
Right, because the original unit was 19,500
Yep.
with 1 month. And we were able to get this unit for $23.94 with a year warranty. And
With
it's
a 1-year
actually a
warranty.
bigger unit,
Less hours.
newer unit, and almost half the hours.
Yeah, that's wild. That's all.
Yeah.
So we actually hit them just right being at the end of the month because their numbers were way down. And that's why.
Yeah. It's a nice generator. Quiet. Fires right up.
Yep, and we voted to, an up to 25, so you guys are, good job.
Yeah, and when we say it takes def, but,
Yeah, it takes def, but it's
yeah.
Oh, it does.
yeah, that's the only downfall with it. But
How much?
How
def-
big
How
is it?
does that work with it not freezing? Is
I
def,
don't. There's got to be a tank heater.
Yeah, there
I don't
is.
know, I've never had anything that takes def, so I don't know.
Def will freeze, you're right, but yeah, like all the heaters, all the tanks on all the trucks nowadays are heated. They're not heated all the time, so they just,
Yeah.
so they must allow it to freeze and expand and then,
Interesting.
yeah. The truck, I assume that thing's gonna be running for a while before it'll even try doing a regen. or anything
Yeah.
like that. Alright, anything else on that topic?
Nope.
Okay, I just had this, so we can get an update on that chlorine, that was the chlorine analyzer, right?
That's in and up and running.
Okay. Awesome.
I installed that.
Okay. I did watch the meeting minutes from last time, Bill, and when we were going on the solar thing, so where it left off with me and my guy was, this was for a purchase, right? If we wanted to purchase it. It looks like if we wanted to, if we had the time and, I guess energy to do it, we could probably buy it for what they're quoting kind of the buyout at the 7-year mark. Probably get more closer to 100% off than, but we all agreed, in a meeting, I think while you were up north, that, for the sake of how easy the project would be to just do the PPA, that we just go that route. So if you would be so kind to keep rolling with that, you know what I mean? You've been doing a great job with it, and I really appreciate it, and you had the contact to begin with, so, if you could reach back out, and if it's not too late, we'd like to start moving forward with that.
When it's not too late, because probably a week and a half ago, he called me and says, what's up, Doc?
Okay, yeah, so,
He's hot to trot.
okay, we, just being here, we had a couple questions on what, if they would maintain around it, or if we had to and stuff like that, but that's all kind of minor stuff we can discuss at any
Yeah,
time.
You need a
you're
set.
mowing grass.
Yeah, so.
Those ones that have coming up now are non-public, so.
Okay.
So I think it makes sense for us, right? It's completely hands-free, it's nice and easy, we'll see a great gain out of it. If we wanna buy it, we can, and we can discuss it a few years down the road, so see what it looks like, so.
Yeah, it doesn't cost us anything up until then.
Right, yeah, so it's kind of, with everything else that's going on, I think it's great, and then,
And even then, if we don't buy it, if I understand that right, then it goes into somebody else, and you still get a whole bunch of electricity at a much lower rate. Okay, so,
yep,
okay.
and then,
So then I will contact him and let him know
Okay.
that we're opposed for
we
it.
would like to move forward, yeah, I think, I don't remember if you had sent us a copy of like a generic contract and what it looked like, but I'm sure we'll have a chance to review whatever he puts on the table.
Well, the next thing is the SOP. We put the
Those are not
Excel
those two.
spreadsheet in the computer last week sometime, a little while ago.
Okay.
And, this is something, a different one. And, so, you know, now he's got, populated with the list of SOPs that he wants to do, and on one sheet, and on the other sheet, any SOPs that we already have that then just need maybe their title and code put in front of it, type stuff.
Yep.
So, you know, and, we're gonna, how are we doing with that, getting that office assistant?
That's one of the things we'll talk about tonight.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
cause that would be able, that would help him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm writing up a little one-page thing on it, just so that I didn't have it ready for tonight, but I'll have it ready for next time.
Tobin texted and said the Twizzlers are for you guys.
You watching?
Yeah, he usually does.
Good.
Yeah, so it's in Colorado last week, Sean.
Oh,
The next day.
What are you doing?
No.
The only thing is now is to come up with a list of SOPs you want written. Ones that are already written, should be reviewed for content,
Yep.
but at some point in time, but at least we can get them on the list and be using them. And then if there's anything else, you gave me a list 2 years ago.
Yep.
Almost. And that's in the Excel spreadsheet for him to decide, does he want to put them on a list and do them, or delete them at his discretion. So I'm very pleased with it now.
Alright, so that'll get us into this part of it, so, I know how you guys had talked about it last time too, but we'll just keep this on here, maybe, have you been able to collect any, like, you guys writing it down, how are you collecting information for Tobin, I guess would be the biggest question. I'm assuming they just want like a resume style, I don't know how,
Yeah.
what we're gonna have to prove, or.
I'll have him printed out resume style, and I'll get a hold of Dick on that.
Okay.
Exactly how they want it.
That'd be great.
He's been busy flushing hydrants for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I
We
saw
just
him, and I,
finished up today.
yeah, and I always do what you need to first, obviously, you don't need to say that, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, the sooner we know, this will probably help us.
Yep.
And then, based off the response times that we've been seeing from DES, the sooner it might be better to
Yeah.
get, the information to Dick. I still haven't heard back from Dick about even updating our contact info.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, like anything, any education, anything that might be relevant, Dick literally said, you know, basically throw the kitchen sink at it and they'll decide what sticks and what doesn't.
Okay.
So literally anything that may be relevant, or even, you know, even if it's not.
Yeah, even mechanical background, you know, some of the stuff that we know he has, if he has work history for that, that matters here, you know, so.
Absolutely, and even, yeah, like I said, Dick even agreed with all that, you never know.
Yep.
All right, the billing shut-off payment plan, SOP,
We gotta table that one more round.
I know you've been busy with.
Yeah, I'll get on that, but when's our due date for the last billing that went out?
End of the month.
The 30th?
The 30th of?
Is it, or 31st probably?
Okay.
30th.
Is it
All right.
the 30th?
Yeah.
Just check the bill
I'll
today.
get it done, I'll get it done by then, cause that way they have it, cause it's really more of a, collection process, so, and I did say to let them know not to hold off on anything that they're doing as far as, calling people and getting bills paid, so.
Yep.
Yeah, when I-
Shut-offs and all that stuff need to be done, so.
When I sat with Evie, I'll just give you an update on that, I think it'd be best if we like, I don't wanna overwhelm or at all, but like just pick something and kind of work through it, right? And as we notice things, we'll just, fix things one at a time, cause it's really the only way we're gonna do it. We try and tackle all the things, I hoping you guys saw the list of like the shut off list from
Yeah.
last time, there's stuff that's 5, 6, 7 years old, so, that clarified quite a bit for me on those lists.
Yeah.
And then, there were people in there listed that we can verify things, right? So it'll give us a little bit of insight on maybe how that happened, or whether this is, I guess whether these are mistakes or not, right, in there, but, yeah, she said it would be really great just to have like a, and, it may be common knowledge to us, but, just the cycle, like, like, can I send them out on the day, day after bills are due, which is a yes, right?
Yep.
But just in writing, so. she can-
Timeline, like a
Yeah.
timeline of events, the
Yeah,
letters that
10
go
days,
along with that timeline.
30 days, 60
Yeah.
days, 10 days, all that kind of stuff, and when to get added to the list, and then the payment plan part of it might be better as well. That might be more descriptive than just a.
Something tells me that that list has been like that, past due list has been like that for a while, and Rhonda was probably just taking out the fresh stuff and sending notices and things to the new ones. The
Right.
stuff that's been riding on that report, I'm sure has been there for right along.
Right, there was people that are no longer with us, there's people that.
And we need a process for purging that list and getting ourselves a nice clean line in the
Right,
sand.
yeah, and I told her we'd work on that to really not really, let's not go too far back, and maybe we'll decide which ones can still be acted upon, which ones can't, when we have time.
I think if we do that in, so we wait till 25 and we put in the budget an abatement line, then we can abate all of those old bills. If it's not something we're ever planning on collecting, we can just abate them, get them off of there, and, but we have to book that as an expense, so.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have a line item for that, so we would book it, it would be an expense against our operating budget, and we just take away from other things that we have. And really, it's just an accounting function, but the way municipal accounting works, you have to hit the operating budget with it as an
Yeah,
expense.
again, there was stuff in there from 2016, if I remember right.
Right.
Yeah. Time to get a total so you know ahead of time.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll take a moment and come up with where the cutoff is and why and how much. And I think the other thing I had listed in that little sheet was just like, are we gonna do shut-offs for things that are like $10 or $2 or $5? Cause there was a lot in there, there was $1, $2, $5. You just let that ride to the next.
Did Jeremy email you about, he had questioned us about using credit card payment, how we felt about it, and I had recommended he email you so we could pull it to a vote down here.
No, but we can talk about it when it's appropriate, but he did not, I'll double check, I brought my laptop, so I can double check. Credit card payments for
Water and sewer bills.
Oh,
Just like you do for taxes and stuff, it wouldn't hit the department, it would, the person, if they chose to do it, would pay the fee
the
on top of it.
3.5, whatever it is, yeah. Yeah, I'll have it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea, cause I was, I mean, the short period of time I was there, I mean, there was 3 people that came in to pay their water bill, and there was minimum 10 minutes every time, so they could do it right online, it would be,
Yeah.
it would be a huge time saver for her, I mean, I would think.
Yeah, as long as we're not eating the fee, yeah.
No, it would be on the, it's just like, could be through, I think.
Like the registrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pay the 2.5% or whatever it is.
Yeah, I
And
think,
on a water bill, that's not that much, so they're more likely to do that than pay their taxes or something.
right.
So,
All right.
High taxes up there.
probably help with the late fee, and the light bill, you know what I mean? Like, people,
More ways to pay. One thing that works on late payments is active collection works surprisingly well.
I know if you don't have to use it, if you don't have to use a check or cash, it's easier to pay too. The convenience fee of that is just
Well, yeah,
Right.
everything's very digital now.
It's just so much easier, yeah.
Okay, we'll quickly touch base on this, so, did we post the office admin
No,
position?
so that's on me. Justin got it to me, this week. I'll look it over again and post it in the places that we talked about, which is NHMA and town website, wherever else. Doesn't really need to go to, I don't think, Granite. Rural waterworks, because it's not really a water position, it's just it's an office position, so.
I'm assuming there'd be no more contacts about an operator.
Nothing.
I'm just gonna put this one in there, that it would be great, just the town in general, there's so much money out there that we could do with a grant writer. I don't know what that looks like, or even training someone that is existing, but does that new office admin person have any experience with that? No.
what new office admin?
Well, we just hired someone you guys just hired someone in the town clerk's office.
That's to replace a prior position. No, they don't have that experience.
But I just didn't know, yeah, is
No.
she still doing all the sorting out back?
On our own business, yep.
Yeah.
That, I know we sent Dave to the class. The biggest thing is if we hire out, most of them want 1%. If we use the county writer, they don't get 1% of it because they're already paid for our county taxes. So the county one is open to any municipality to use.
we're just gonna contact them or have,
Contact them, tell them which one you want to go for, and they'll go back and forth with you.
So when you hire someone out, they wanna be paid for their time plus 1%, or they just get paid on commission?
I don't know how that works. I mean, some of them have been commission, and some have been both time plus commission. And the time is only like $10 an hour,
Yep.
because they're going to make the bank on the 3% or however whatever percent they get of the grant.
Based on the amount of grants that we've received, it's probably worth every penny.
Could be.
You know, because we're basically going from very few to what potentially, if somebody's working on it for us full time or however much they can work on it for us. And I think if somebody was getting a stipend, not a stipend, a percentage of grants for a town like Troy, they'd probably focus more on Troy, because I bet you Troy qualifies more often for
Probably.
grants, because just the financial situation that we're in here, so.
I know we've got a couple of grant writers in town, so.
Right.
so does the town use somebody?
We've used people in the past. We try to avoid using other people because we'd rather get all the money ourselves to use on things, but sometimes we gotta use other people.
Mary was pretty good at, I mean, when the grants were obvious and everybody qualified, like through the whole COVID thing, she did a real good job of pulling in a bunch of money, so, yeah.
You know the person who helped with the internet one, right?
Internet one.
Initials are LS.
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Consolidated,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole committee that did that, yeah.
Yeah, but the person who wrote the grant,
Yep.
I believe, got 1% of it as well.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a horrible idea.
No, I
Somebody's
think it's
better
a-
than-
No, I mean,
better
there-
than no money, right?
There are a bunch. I mean, we have, like I said, we have 4 in town, but we try to, better to not have to pay up out of the grant, because some of those, I mean, 15K, 3%.
It's
Can you
still-
give
it's still
Justin them 4
15K,
people so he can
right?
try to get all of them?
I mean, we can get a data information.
Yeah,
But I know
that way we can,
does it.
he can reach out to him for maybe the fire hydrant idea we got going on.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of that other.
The
Yeah.
purple ones are the best.
Okay. They just snag that one off the top. I had it prepped right up for you.
I'll get that list together and send it
Okay.
to you, Justin.
Sounds good.
I see them come up, I get the emails, and it'd be nice to grab some. Some of them seem like really low hanging fruit. back to the meeting minutes, the September 26th meeting minutes.
Yep, that's what we got, is the 26th, public and 2 non-publics. Motion to approve as written.
Second.
Any further discussion around that? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? And I will abstain, because I was not
You know you don't have to though, right?
here. Yeah. I did watch it.
It's a weird thing.
Right, I watched it for, they only have us for the last 30 minutes. Well, I watched it the next day. Alright, new business stuff. Adam, we got
Two more, bud.
Oh, if we do those separate, okay, let's do the non-public.
Oh, no, we did those all at the same time.
Yeah.
The
That was-
motion
My motion was for all of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm good with that anyways.
Thank you.
Too late now, you already voted.
It's a good thing you knew what you were voting on.
Alright, Adam did some research on the pay period change thing, and really, I mean, you probably describe it better, but it really boils down to how it affects.
It just boils down how it's gonna affect Justin and Tobin, because, so it'll make it easier for the town payrolling, because then everybody will be on the same cycle, same pay dates. And it won't be an issue after the week that we change it. So the week that we change it, they get their regular check on Monday. But then the new pay period would start that day, instead of having started before that. So then they would go through the next Monday. Justin would get paid for like the weekend before, so just those 8 hours. And then would get a full check a week later. So Tobin would go 2 weeks without a paycheck, but then would get paid every week after that. And then when he
But he would get double
when he
up.
retires or leaves or whatever, he'd get a check a week after he left.
Yeah.
Instead of the
Just
day.
like everybody else in the world.
Right, like if this had happened, if this had happened when he started, it would just be like when you started a job, you're like, all right, well, you know,
Hold
first
that
paycheck is in 2 weeks.
Yep.
You know, you'd know it, but now that it's kind of midstream here on these two, that's the only hang up. It's not illegal. Jeremy reached out and talked to the Department of Labor. They said it's fine. They said you only have to give 1 pay period notice. Obviously, we're not gonna do that. I think that would be ridiculous. So it's just trying to figure out how we can make it as least impactful on these two then, because it's simple on back on our end, but it's just how it's going to impact.
So I'll make a motion before anybody else seconds it. You tell me if this is going to work. So I move that we change this starting with the second pay period. Well, it would be the first pay period in November. So that would mean that you would get paid on that first normal paycheck in November, and then you'd get a partial on the next week, and then get extra on the next week, and then be on track. And Tobin would go. That would give you 4 weeks, approximately, before you felt the financial impact.
I mean, honestly, it kind of sucks because I pay daycare every week, and then that would put, if I was able to go to Maine.
Well, it's not like you're not going to get paid.
No,
You just have a
it's
gap.
only when I retire.
No. You're still going to get paid for the time that. So explain that again. You can't. You're not. We're not skipping any hours. You're going to get paid for all your hours.
So if you did it, well, it sounds like we're withholding a week.
So
You
basically,
would be withholding a week until you leave.
Right now, like Justin would get paid on November 4th, let's
Yep.
say.
For
currently,
for
under-
what pay period?
Yeah.
For the
what
pay period
days?
that ended on the 1st.
So he literally
They
gets
they
paid.
turn in their time cards Friday morning and they get their check Friday afternoon.
Yep.
Or Tuesday if I come in late on Monday to sign it. So he would be paid here through the 1st. Then there would be a 2-day pay period. Just for Justin, because he's the only one that works weekends for us. So he would then on the 11th get those 8 hours paid, and that's it. Then this pay period that started on the 4th would go through the 10th, and they would get paid on the 18th. So there would be no paycheck for Tobin this week, and only an 8-hour paycheck for Justin this week.
Okay.
And that would just be a regular weekly paycheck every
Okay.
week.
And wouldn't it be moved Friday or Thursday? Is that what?
So the actual payday is Monday,
Yeah.
but they usually can pick up their checks on Friday, and if you do direct deposit, it can go in depending on what bank you use, because we're moving to a different bank too for the account, so you'll be able to do direct deposit.
So, but they wouldn't be able, so we would be getting on with the town, they wouldn't be able to take their paycheck on that Monday though, because they can't grab it until Friday. Right? Even though payday is on Monday, how does everybody else get paid in town? Can they can either get it on Wednesday?
Pick it up on Friday,
They pick it up on Friday.
before the Monday.
Oh, the Friday before the Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, like I sign them usually Thursday nights,
okay.
and then she distributes them Friday. And then direct deposit for some people goes in as early as the Wednesday before paycheck.
Holy shit, I'm
Yeah,
confused.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So basically what most places do when they do this, they tell their people to take a week of vacation. Because week vacation's paid off sometimes. Others will just say, you're gonna miss 2 weeks, you're gonna miss a week of pay and jump over.
yeah,
Cause like mine, I get paid every 2 weeks.
Yep.
If they switched it over, I would miss 2 weeks of pay and I'd get paid once in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so technically we would be withholding a week from both Justin and.
right, and you're right, I stand corrected. It would essentially, you'd be getting paid for the last pay period, but your last
Yeah.
pay period continues to be that until you get to the end of your,
Yeah.
when you quit, or
Yeah.
leave, or retire, or whatever.
Right.
It's a week later, you get another check.
Right.
So you hadn't been working that whole week, but you get your check from the week before. So, is there any way we can, do like a split check, like pay ahead for that check, so that way they get half checks for those weeks?
I have no idea.
I imagine legally we can, it's really about to, because you're paying ahead, so, at that point. Would that work? So you'd basically do 2 half checks, and then you'd be back on your regular full check. So in the middle of that, instead of getting nothing, or getting your 8 hours, but use Tobin as a better example, because he'd be getting nothing. So instead of getting nothing, he would get a half check in the middle of that, half check the next week, so he wouldn't be getting his full check for that week, and then he'd be back on the full check after that. It'd be still holding back a week, but it would be spreading out at least so you don't go a whole week without a check.
That's something I'd have to talk to him about and see where he is.
Well, it'd be the same thing for you too. I'm just
Yeah.
using Tobin as an
Yeah.
example.
Yep. Yeah, because I don't know how he is.
Oh, I should know maybe we need a little bit more discussion around this. Now that, yeah.
Well, there's no sense in having Adam look into it if it's not something we're gonna try and do. You know, it makes no sense to have the town doing 2 different pay periods. So,
I agree with
and
that.
there's
Yeah.
2 people here, and there's however many people on the other end. So, I mean, we can ask.
I remember it used to all be the same, and then the town just switched it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That was a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
a few years ago anyways.
and it was all what, like us, or all like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've already gone through their pain, whoever, they
Yeah.
probably don't work there anymore, but.
Yeah, so, I mean, direct deposit's coming anyway, so you guys will be able to do that, which is a benefit for you guys, which will be good.
Yeah.
If you choose to use it. But, yeah, it'd be great to get them all in the same. It's just.
And if you did direct deposit, it sounds like you're pretty much waiting 2 days.
Yeah,
for your
because
check.
what's going
It's
on.
only a
what I
2-day gap,
noticed
because
is-
you wouldn't
so-
get it on Monday, you'd get it on Wednesday.
You know, so when she processes payroll, like she processes it usually on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and some banks show that immediately to their customer, their
Yeah.
bank
Right, I
customers.
should always pull,
Even though
the
payday
night
is
before if I
technically
wanted
the
to.
Monday after that, because we've sent the information
Yep.
and the money, then it's there once she processes the direct deposit. So yeah, it could be as nice as that, but I think it depends on which bank you use.
So, all right, so this is the idea then. So, are you open to direct deposit?
Yeah.
Okay, and so ask Tobin if he's willing to do direct, or if he'd like to do direct deposit, because that'll be available to him. And then if you ask if we can do, like, kind of split it up a little bit, because honestly, it sounds like the direct deposit's gonna come in, you wouldn't get your check on Monday, you would literally get it on,
I think so.
right,
Yeah.
you'd get it on Wednesday,
Definitely,
yeah.
Just taking a peek at the desk. Done.
I trust that Mike washed his hands. We're eating these things at the pickle plant, but how bad can it be? I see why you did that though.
You found them in the
On the screen.
it was in the bar rack.
You
got it on
found
the bar rack.
Oh, it's in the bar rack. It wouldn't look like that. That's my suggestion, sorry, Mike.
No,
Got distracted by your Twizzler situation.
I shouldn't even open. Alright, so that, we're gonna leave it as, you're gonna see if we can minimize the pain on that a little bit.
And maybe we wait till the new year or something, you know, starting off in 25 and do it that way and give you guys through the holidays or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, some combination, it's gotta be a compromise,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
It seems like it's something we need to do, we just gotta figure out a way to make it easier on you guys to
Yep.
get it done.
Yep.
And compromise somewhere in between. And then anybody else we hire will be on the program. Like, they'll start right off by holding back a week, just like anywhere else, so. This is just one big homogeneous.
It is, so I had to pull it all out.
Is that a knife back there, Bob? Just start cutting pieces of squares out of it.
Okay, I'm gonna jump down and then we'll come back, cause the budget will be the big thing. I sent over what you had sent to me for the confined space, the lockout, tagout stuff. Is that something that needs to be adopted, or you just guys need to sign it and file it, or?
Yeah, I think it needs to be adopted.
Okay. I didn't print any of it. I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at it.
I'll defer to you on that, Mike. If you think it's good, I haven't had a chance to look at it, I apologize.
Okay, that's fine.
If you think it's good, I'll
Seem
support
to
it.
be
Yeah,
you know,
standard.
very,
Yeah, it's
very
pretty
precise, you can do this and you can't do that.
Yeah, I would agree. Do we need a motion to adopt that?
I move to adopt it if that's what we want.
And what it is, it's a policy of the commission, rather than being a standard operating procedure. Though, if you write a standard operating procedure for doing something in a confined space, it should reference that.
Yep. Definitely.
There's a place for references, yeah.
The confined space and no lockout, so you can do two versions.
Are we, is it two separate policies?
It is.
Okay. I move to adopt both, policies as written.
A second.
Any further discussion around that? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Thanks for putting that together, Justin.
Yeah.
To benefit, not just us, but the rest of the town, by the sounds.
Okay, and then been hemming and hawing about this myself for a little bit here. So there's a lot of talk on one of the town pages, or maybe both. I don't know. I was not a member for a while. I joined a lot of, I don't want to use the words we hear in politics all the time, but misinformation, incorrect information, and some banter in there. I'd like to post an update. We had talked about other ways of posting updates on there, but I feel like it'd be better coming from me. But I also want to throw out the idea of just having a page for us where we can post stuff that people, I mean, I don't mind comments, I don't mind criticism at times, but I think we could control it better and just shut it off. People can share it to the page if they want to see it, and the information's there, whether they choose to look at it and understand it or not. If they have questions, they can come down here, or they can even email us. I think that'd be a more appropriate way. We could control it a lot better if we had our own little page.
I like that too, and then that page can comment, in response to questions or whatever, and that would be.
Possibly, it depends how we set up the page. Like I set up one for the planning board, which is actually a page. So it can't, there's multiple users, right? I have me, I think Richie might even still be set up as a user on it, Henry's a user, right? So, we just use it to post open spaces or public notices or, master plan updates and stuff like that.
Informational stuff would be good too. Like I was talking with Ben about that the other day. Like, so people are aware, like, why we do what we do.
Yeah, or hydrant flushing, or all that kind of stuff.
Well, not
right?
only that, but just like I was talking with Ben, like life expectancy when the Clean Water Act came into effect jumped by 20 years.
Yeah, so oddly
It's-
enough, DES, I don't know if you saw it. the
Yeah,
other
we're not
day.
just dubbing around down here, there's a reason why we do what
Yeah,
we do.
there's a
It
reason
matters
why
to
we have
people.
to add chlorine.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Like did the facts that we just got our lead and copper back. If I were to grab a copper sample, a drinking water copper sample, and run it as our effluent, we would violate our copper limit by a lot.
Really?
Yeah, we're allowed like by a lot. So
I
But the
think
highway
every
department has
house.
its own page that they run.
You said a water sample, so you took a water sample, we'd violate our.
our 90th percentile.
We gotta be clear how we word this here. So
Yeah, look.
Our
Yeah.
90th
Scary.
percentile for copper, which is well below the limit, was a 0.246 milligrams per liter. Our limit, our actual limit, not our AO, would be a 0.0032. 3.2 micrograms per liter, parts
So
per
we're
billion.
allowed more in the drinking water than we are in
Oh.
the effluent. By a long
Yeah,
shot.
by a long
By
shot.
magnitude
1,000
10, I
times.
think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we are well under the limit
No,
on the
magnitude of
drinking
100.
water side.
Yeah.
Do we
But-
have any lead pipes left in our system?
There's some in the ground, but they're not active. I've ripped them out before, but none are active.
But we're not putting any water through any of the
No.
pipes? Okay, that's all, yeah.
The reason,
There was a big thing on TV about the state
so
adding a bunch of money to get rid of it if you do.
Right.
when
That's
we
what
grab
the-
a lead and copper sample, it's a first draw, and what that means is, well, let me step back. So the Clean Drinking Water Act says that we need to provide potable water to the last free-flowing tap. So when you let water sit in the pipes inside somebody's house, they could have lead solder, old lead solder in these old houses. So we adjust our pH, bring our pH up so it doesn't dissolve into the water over an 8-hour period. They want it to rest for 8 hours. So we give the people the bottles. It's the same people, they know how to do it. They get up in the morning and literally put their bottle underneath and turn it on. Fill it up, shut it off. That's your lead and copper sample. So that's why we have corrosion control. If we were to drop our pH down to like a 6, then yeah, we're gonna start violating copper and probably lead, just because there's a lot of houses with old lead solder.
Yeah.
That was the Flint, Michigan thing. Not
Yep.
fire, not water on fire, but the fact that all their pipes, or a lot of their pipes were lead. And by keeping the pH specific, it would keep the lead from actually entering into the water. And as soon as they changed where their water source was coming from, it changed the pH in the water, and then the lead ended up in the water to like mega levels.
Yeah,
So
which there still are. There's leaded joints
Yeah.
in cast iron pipe. That's how they used to do it.
yeah, but the page I think would be a good idea.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I don't know if they sent you the email or they sent me one, but DES started, they have really specific, they have videos you can post on your websites, they have informational things, they have,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff.
When I first started, we violated our 90th percentile, and oh my God, what a shitstorm! We got inundated with phone calls, and the biggest correction is let your water run before you grab a drink. Feel it, make sure it's cold, like normal people do when they get up in the morning. I usually turn the faucet on so it's not room temperature. You feel that cold water, you flushed everything out. but the corrosion control is a big thing. Keep your pH. We keep our pH around a 7.4, 7.5, which is good. But that also helps with the reason we used to keep it around a 7. I bumped it up once we got our copper limits, because if we can reduce what's coming in, it's less we have to treat.
I think if we design the page in such a way that we could post in response to questions or what have you, and it all comes across as the page itself. I know like a business page you can post and it's posting as the business. If we did it like that, that would be ideal, because then there's no anonymity there. It's the water sewer department is making a post, but if whoever has access to the page can make that post and is not being targeted individually, because that's, I think, part of the issue that we have going on here.
Well, that's why, I mean, I can probably shut off comments if I make a post, but,
And I think comments are okay if they're not directed at any individual person, you know?
Yeah.
If they're directed at the water sewer department, okay, fine, we take those as they come in. If they're just getting ridiculous, I mean, I think the owner of the page can remove them or whatever.
Right. Okay, so I'll do a little bit more research on there. I did kind of send out like a timeline. I don't know if that's the appropriate way to discuss it. I know I got some feedback on it. I made some changes. I meant to resend it out. I'll do that tomorrow, and we can keep that as a work in progress. And as I figure out the page thing, maybe by the next meeting we can get something up, and then we can use it regularly. I will say that we have been doing probably updates on the sludge part of this for at least the last 4 or 5 meetings. Maybe we push that stuff at the beginning of the meeting. I don't know if people are petering out by the end, but it has been discussed quite some time. And then looking at the timeline that I made, it looks like DES has about a 5-week response time from when we request approval for a contractor to do one of the 3 projects we have listed, and actually getting that back from DES.
So the next email we send, just say in the subject line, we've exceeded our 90th percentile, and see who responds to it.
Yeah.
You might get a response right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, and again, I know Adam had mentioned it, right, that I've left multiple messages multiple times with multiple people, from the low man to the tall man on the totem pole for the grant at the Department of Homeland Security for New Hampshire, and I haven't even got it so much as just a courtesy call back. So, and that's been since July.
Well, fortunately, we've been able to take matters into our own hands regarding that and put something in place.
Yeah, I think the way we did it was great, right? Because that would be an asset to us either way.
Yeah.
It'd be really good, and for the town in general, right? If something ever happened where we needed it elsewhere, coming in. All right, so I'll do a little bit more on that. Get closer to that. Just a quick question on that timeline that people did see. My question in that timeline is that nobody's really asking about the chemical feed part of it. I know it's an important part of the timeline, but I think I can shorten that if I just leave that out, just,
Yeah.
in the summary where I say where that's almost completed. I think that'll be sufficient. We can just deal with
We did that press release saying when we announced the contract for that one, we do one when this work's done, just as an update, so I put that out.
Yeah, so basically, if anybody listening, and this will, again, we've talked about this over the last 4 or 5 meetings, but we do have a contractor who has bid the project, and we've accepted it, asked DES for their approval, which is required by the CWSRF for reimbursement purposes, and that was, I think we're already over the 5-week that it was for ICC, so we should be hearing back any day now. I think maybe Dave and the contractor had a couple of things they had to tidy up with DES, but the goal is to be done by the end of the year or shortly thereafter.
Are we still kind of on their schedule for December, on the contract schedule for December?
He's got us slated still. He's
Okay.
still confident in that.
Okay.
nothing has changed on when he can start. He's just not sure with the holiday thrown in there whether he'll finish before January 1 or like a few days after January 1.
Okay,
So,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I was worried that they were gonna, you know, fill that
Start a
time slot.
job,
Yeah,
right.
start a job and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
We
So they
don't-
must be used to this delay in response time or something, that they're willing to
Yeah.
go out on that limb.
Yep, I think it just fits their schedule well, is what it is. And it comes to that time of year where, you know, anything beyond that might get into some freezing things, not so much in this, but in other areas where they also do work. Again, it would have been great to get it done over the summer. We don't necessarily need it to be warm out to do any of this stuff, so.
Can we, so we'll get a report from the contractor when they're done, like this is what we did, this is what we found, you know, basically a report from them, I'm assuming. Or Dave will give us a report based on,
Yeah, I think there'll be some like performance merit in there that they'll have to actually reevaluate the cell that they do the sludge removal from to verify that they got what they said they did.
Yeah.
To a point that's acceptable. The complete mix part of it is really just rebuilding what we have. So
Yeah.
that should be pretty apparent and straightforward.
well, whatever documentation we get that the project is completed and completed as requested, as soon as we have that available, it seems to me that's probably the appropriate time to have another meet and greet like the last two that we've had. Do it at the St. Paul Center and do the, basically an update as to what's next, you know, because I mean, we obviously have a waiting period to see how see the results. We gotta go through a testing period, so it's gonna seem like nothing's happening, but, obviously, we're watching it very closely to make sure that what we did worked. And I think explaining that to everybody after we've gotten to that point, because I think your timeline's very well suited, I think, for our situation, because people are like, well, you're not doing anything.
Well, it's
And
three people,
like,
right, there's three parties involved, and each one of them has their own timeline or time frame in which they respond, and there's a lot of waiting on the state.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd love to bypass all that if we want, I mean, unless we wanna pay it out of pocket, this is the avenue we have to follow.
Yeah, and I don't think people recognize that, so, but yeah, regardless, your social media post would make sense in the interim, and then once we get past the sludge removal process, we can kind of give everybody an actual in-person update like we've done in the past. I think that would make sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that actually went pretty well last time. Okay, so I'll work on that, and then we'll try and get something together so we can approve by next meeting. I'll have kind of an overview of how it'll work, and who can, you know, I'd like more than me to have access to it, so everybody can see what's going on. All right.
Yeah, we really don't post we really don't do anything unless the group is already voted to support whatever that is, so I think, if multiple people had access to it, and it was something that we were planned at a meeting to say, let's get this out on the page, then anyone can do it.
Okay. Do we wanna do an operation report before we jump into the budget?
Sure. The biggest thing is flushing is done, besides the fire station. We're gonna do that tomorrow morning. I was hoping to get it done this afternoon, but I wanted to allow for some time. CL17 is installed. Our disinfection byproduct report is done. And generator, we already talked about that. That's on site. I got a lot of data entry done, which is nice. I broke it up. I got Tobin the first couple of days flushing, I kind of teaching him, and then I was able to let him kind of be free so I could break off and do some things.
So it sounds like he's working on it really well.
Yeah, there's a few of them where, all right, this is what we need to do. We directionally flushed Russell Ave, directionally flushed the Common, directionally flushed Granite Street.
Is he understanding the concepts? I mean, Seems basic.
He's
but-
starting to,
Yep.
yeah. Yep. I tried to explain it to him. What I was gonna do is print out a map. That way he could
Yeah.
like actually get eyes on it,
Yeah.
instead of trying to explain to him how we're doing it.
Yeah.
But no, he's getting the concept of it. So.
Yeah, he's got a good energy, that kid.
Yep.
So.
Trucks made it through the week.
Trucks made it. they made it.
That's a meeting to meeting situation there.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't mean a lot
Yeah.
about it, but yeah. Okay. Alright, jump into the good stuff then.
Okay. Everybody should have the budget sitting in front of them. So I'll go over the email that I sent last night that, let's see here. Jeremy also got back to me today on a bunch of the questions that we had on the budget, so that's good. So I'll mention his comments as we go down through here. He's very detailed on what he responded with, so it's very good. So the email that I sent. All right, so the highlights of the budget, and I think we should go down through it line by line, but brief overview, I basically baked into this thing all of the things that we want to do from a staffing standpoint. I think the rest of it is pretty straightforward. We've left a couple of numbers inflated, and I've made notes as such regarding like the materials number we left up a little bit. We left a few things that have been historically high that we haven't really budgeted for. We've moved those up, but for the most part, the bulk of the change is in personnel. So, and what's the most shocking number of all is our family plan for healthcare. So, I'll bounce around a little bit for a second here, and then we'll get down to the details. But the family plan for healthcare is $36,000. So for someone with a family plan for healthcare, it's between that, and if they make a decent salary, and retirement, and the various payroll liabilities that we have to pay, they're costing us $45,000 to $50,000 approximately above and beyond their base. So that's that's just a crazy number. So to put that in perspective, it was 27 and change like 2 years ago. So I think it was right just about $28,000 2 years ago. Now it's over 36. So there was a 7% increase last year and a 10% increase this year, which is obviously the reason why it's at what it's at. And I don't know what the answer to that is. That's something that the town and the selectman's office work on from a year-to-year basis to see if we need to shop this around. We have to go to the state for our health care, but there are providers there are optional providers underneath the state's umbrella that we could look at and get pricing on. I believe that Mary in the past and
We did it last year.
yeah, just
And it was-
looked at it, and it was like the same. It was really not a big difference, I guess, from provider to provider, but
It was only like $100 difference.
right. So,
And
which is, I don't know, it's one of those things. It's like, it's like when you bid out the project, they're like, oh, $1 less than your budgeted amount. It feels a little bit like that. It's crazy expensive, but so that was kind of a shocking number to see this year. So back to the overview. So if we went with everything, this is the soup to nuts program here. It's what DES would like to see of us, and I don't necessarily agree with this. I just put it into the budget as something for us to discuss. It puts our total budget at just over 731,000, which is an increase over 2024 of just over 176,000. Our anticipated revenues are 687,000 for 2025, which puts us at a budget deficit of $44,063, which would require a rate increase in order to cover the entire amount. I didn't include in the anticipated revenues any fee or anticipated billing from the mill project. But that's something that could happen in 2025 potentially, I guess, so. But I didn't include it in there because I don't have any empirical data to base that on, so. This is what, if we were to have the exact same thing happen this year and just hire all the staff that we wanted, these are the numbers that you'd be looking at. In order to do that and do it correctly, we would be looking at doing a rate increase for billing the first quarter of 2025. That rate increase would have to start at the beginning of the quarter so that we meet the promise that we made last time we did the billing increase, not to have it any later than prior to billing actually starts, and we'd have to hold a public hearing before the end of 2024. Not that I believe any of this is a great idea, I just wanted to put it out there as to, this is what it looks like if we basically meet what the DES is looking for from us.
I reached out to Dave Mercier on the chemicals.
Okay.
He was supposed to send me over a spreadsheet, I haven't seen it yet,
Okay.
of a cost comparison.
Okay.
So, it's looking like we'll be doing away with the, bicarb, which they've been wanting 100 pounds a day, which is basically 2 pallets a month, so it'll be basically a wash, maybe even a little bit less with the switching to magnesium hydroxide.
Okay.
So that's good, but he was supposed to
It'll
send
be a
me
wash from the
from the bicarb to the.
right, but from
But
the
we're
height
also
number
gonna
that
be-
we're doing now, or the old number, or the old poundage that you used to do, would be equivalent to which one?
The price will be about the same between the magnesium hydroxide, a month's worth of magnesium hydroxide versus a month's worth of bicarb.
Right, but
Well-
the bicarb that we're doing now, or the bicarb that we did before?
No, the
they asked us-
bicarb that we're doing now.
Okay, alright.
So, and then we'll be able to get rid of the sodium aluminate. So, which we don't use much of it, but it's not cheap. They price it by the pound, and that stuff's heavy. It's like one drum is like 800 pounds.
So this is line 990. It might, I don't think I put the account numbers on your, no, I didn't do that on the printout. It's on the big spreadsheet, but, so this is chemicals, it's third from the bottom of the sheet. Okay, right now, this is all as of, the 4th of October.
Shoot.
We're over budget, by $1,000. So we've got basically 3 months left to do that, to make, of chemical additive. So if we annualize that $40,000, will that be the right number then, Justin? We're gonna be basically doing the same program that we are now,
Yeah,
going
it-
forward.
Yep, it should be pretty close. Dave's supposed to be sending me that spreadsheet over. It's a cost comparison on all the chemicals, so.
Alright, so that's gonna be 52 grand instead of 42. Is that number right? Anybody wanna do the math on that? No, cause it's only 9 months, so it's 40 divided by 9 times 12. I always look at you, Adam, because you're.
I'm typing.
I know. The budget committee, you're the
Budget committee,
you're the
yeah,
math
yeah.
man.
Type 53, 333,
53 grand.
and some change. Basically, I would say 53, 3.
Okay, so that number changes. So in here, the way I have that broken out, Justin, is I have chemicals for water and chemicals for sewer, but there's way less chemicals for water than there is sewer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta balance that out, so like where it says 2025 proposed sewer and 2025 proposed water, that needs to be, that calculation needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
It's not a 50-50 split between them, which you can
No.
see that I have it set as a 50-50 split. So if that increase is gonna be for sewer only. Let's, somebody do this math, please. This is going to be, so our year-to-date for 2024 on the sewer, so we're gonna do 31 divided by 9 times 12.
41.3.
41.3.
Right track.
And then so 41.3. All right, so do 9,000 divided by, so that's 12,000. I don't need to do that. And by the time I get done saying it,
we
was
said 9,000, I'm like,
12,000. What was the first number you just gave me?
41.
Yeah, 41. So
41.
basically it'd be about
Okay.
50.
All right, so that's good. That annualizing that number is working. So it's going to be about 53 grand. Okay. All right, so that's way at the bottom of the list. So if we go back up to the top of the budget, we're going to start going right down line by line. I confirmed that, or Jeremy confirmed that in fact the commissioner's salaries is correct. There's a variance because of Bert leaving early and having a little break in between Bill getting here and the way the payments arrived. So that number is correct when you look at, so when I'm talking about numbers for 2024, these are the as of 10/4/24, 2024 expenditures. You'll see that in the first gray column, the rightmost gray column.
So that's how much you've spent?
That's how much has been spent. Okay,
Commissioners get paid once a year. But
Oh,
that's
okay.
when you're gonna. So.
That is quarterly.
No.
Okay, makes sense.
yeah, I did too. A lot of other ones are quarterly.
Every other one's quarterly.
Yeah, so
You guys should go quarterly.
it's fine, whatever she wants to do.
Payroll, not
Yeah,
us.
yeah, whatever. If she wanted to do that, that'd be totally fine.
Actually, it's your guys' choice on that one. You guys tell her we want it quarterly, it goes quarterly. And then she runs it with all the rest of the quarterly folk.
As long as she's doing it along with everybody else, that's fine. As long as we're not doing it on some special day with some special calculation, it's fine.
Every other full moon.
Right, exactly.
Only on blue moons.
So that's, so line number 2 is superintendent salary.
Commissioners get salaries?
Yeah.
Stipend.
500 and change a year, Bill. Woo!
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it all, but I didn't know.
Buy
Yeah,
another
you've been
solar
doing
panel.
this for free for a while. Little did you know. We get rich over here, you know.
Buy a solar panel.
All right, so superintendent salary, all I did was put in, and we can talk about this in non-public, I think. But I did just put in basic figures, so this is includes a 3% increase over what the current salary is. The third line is the assistant superintendent. I put the dollar amount in there as a cap number, put 75,000 in that number, and I put that the job is posted. But this is where I think we need to have this, and I put into the healthcare the full 36, assuming that this person coming in has a family and is going to need a family plan. So I put the full 36. So I added in all of the extra components that would go along with this, which is that $45,000 handle. So this is $130,000 of our increase, this single person right here. So I think we need to modify our plan on this going into 2025. I think what we need to do is maybe bring in somebody part-time or something like that that can help these guys out and push for Tobin to get licensed and try to move Tobin up the chain. And if between a part-time guy to fill in on some of the labor stuff that we need done around here, and Tobin getting licensed and being able to take up, you know, the call time and all of that, if that's not working, then look to remove the part-timer and go to this model here, which is another high-powered guy that's going to cost us all of this money. That does a couple of things for us. It gives us a little more breathing room on having to do a rate increase right after we just did the last one. It gives us a little more breathing room on getting Justin and his crew kind of up to speed before we bring another new guy in. What it doesn't do for us is give us that coverage person that other coverage person that has a license. I think Justin's resolved that with Hinsdale for the situations where he wants to go out of town and go hunting or whatever, so he has somebody to cover for that. But the every other week call time, we've still got that problem.
Yep.
We're still going to have that issue because that Hinsdale relationship doesn't really solve for that. It really solves for helping each other out, but it doesn't solve for the I need a week off, week on, week off, week on. It doesn't solve for that. So outside of what I've said was a massive amount of savings, a little bit easier on the public for rate increase, give them a little more, give them at least 6 quarters before the next one, and more time for Justin to get his staff organized before we bring in another high-powered person. Downside is Justin takes a hit and has to work, or has to be on call, I guess. So you can't leave the area, and that's the issue. So if we hang on this one just for a few minutes, Justin, I don't know if you have any thoughts about, is there any other option as far as getting some more coverage for this time, this call time, this every other week call time?
Not that I can think of. I know Ernie was wanting to discuss a little bit too, brainstorm with him.
Okay.
But
Because he's doing the same exact thing, right?
Yeah.
He has the same issue.
yep, same thing.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we get a guy that would split his time between both places.
How far away is he? Like miles
From
from here?
his house or from Hinsdale?
Plant to plant?
Plant to plant, I guess, because
Plant-
that's where he's really going to be.
Plant to plant's like a 30-minute ride.
Miles, because I think we have a radius set in there.
I'm not sure mileage. It wouldn't be. It'd be under 30 miles.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
because it's not 60 miles an hour from here to Hinsdale, and it takes 30 minutes.
right. So you could, so conceivably, because the on-call thing is just a matter of being available.
Yeah.
It's not like I mean, I think the number of times that people are called in when they're on call is a handful a year. But it's the fact that you can't leave town. You can't leave the area. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yep. No, you're right.
Okay. But the number of times you actually get called in when you're on call in the off hours in a 12-month period is how many?
It's very minimal.
Right. So it's really just an inconvenience more than
Yeah.
anything to have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't go to a holiday party. You can't. You can't leave the 30-mile radius. You're just tethered to this place on physical and social levels.
Yep.
So I think if we can solve that problem, and I don't know what Ernie's ideas are, but if we can solve that problem somehow and give ourselves a little more wiggle room to work our way up to what it is DES is looking for from us, and hopefully be able to do it organically within, because obviously we've had the job posted and nothing's happening.
Right.
So it's not like this, so it really needs to be a hire and train situation, which I think is working well with Tobin.
Yeah.
So if we could duplicate that, that would be really great. And this budget is like assuming that we can just make this happen at the beginning of the year. We haven't been able to make anything happen that fast ever.
Yeah.
Well, besides a repair that's been overdue or something, but as far as
Yeah.
major movements, strategically, it's been slow to do that.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on it, and I think this is the appropriate spot to be talking about it as we're trying to lay out the budget here. Because what this budget number comes out to be is going to matter a lot. By taking that number, getting rid of it, it's going to change our deficit from $44,000 to a positive of $65,000. Then we don't have to do a rate increase until the end of next year, which is a little more in a regular schedule. And my recommendation for a rate increase based on what I've looked at for budgets and all of that would be have it commence the beginning of fourth quarter, so that we're collecting the new rate amount in January of '26. That way we start the year off with fresh new money, and it matches up with our new budget, and then every fourth quarter, every year thereafter, we look to see if a rate increase is required or not.
Well, you can also look at this, the property tax line, because we've gone back and forth about that, but the state clearly said we shouldn't be paying property tax on property.
Yeah, no, we have to, that's why, actually, we'll get down to that, because I've got the attorney figure left up a little bit, because we're gonna need an attorney to handle that for us, and we just need to get to it, so. Did that all make sense, or was I all over the place?
No, it
Nope.
makes perfect sense, just how do you know.
I'm even following
I think I was just standing more than you left
it.
on.
I know.
Another thing we can do is budget it like this, and not do the rate increase, knowing that we have the budget available here, and if we do it, if we hire somebody or we have it available, we just need to change the revenues at some point in the year. If we plan on doing it and it being a absolute, then we need to change the revenues almost immediately.
Yeah, the only wild card is that even if we wanted to do it, I don't know if we could, right? Like, I don't know if the
Absolutely.
person's out there is the problem. Like,
Yeah.
we would have tried already to some degree, but, yeah, so what you're saying in that sense is that the hiring of this person would trigger a rate increase, basically.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's ideally how we probably should handle it. Is we continue to try and solve that problem, and if this is the result, if this is what solves that problem, if the opportunity arises, then we just have to be prepared to jump on that rate increase.
If we continue to struggle to fill that position, which again is a you know a more high-powered position and a more expensive position, but if we continue to struggle to fill that, I'd rather spend 75 on the staff that we have. I'd rather,
I agree with that,
yeah, you know, if we can get more out of you know, lower paid staff, if we brought in another person that to support these guys, like a part-timer or whatever, and then slowly bring them up, that 75, I'd rather spread that out over the group over time than to just dump it into somebody new if we're not even ready for that anyway, so.
Yeah, that's time in to be really great to see what time frame looks like for existing staff now to get open license. I know it won't be an immediate, that's for sure, but we can get it down to a year, 18 months.
Right. Really push for that. And really what we need him to do is get to the threshold where he can get enough licensing to be able to be on call.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
That's really what we need. Another aspect of this, you know, as far as waiting on this, and there's a few things that are gonna really come to light over the course of the next year. We're gonna better know where our system is at, you know. Did we, you know, the changes that we made, are they working? Are we opening up capacity? We're gonna start to get to know, you know, we're gonna get closer to knowing on that. The mill project is actually a pretty big revenue stream. Should that actually go online, we should know whether that's not gonna happen or not in 25, I would guess.
Right.
So, there's a lot of benefits to kind of waiting, because there's a lot of things that we don't know, and there's a lot of things that are in the works, that will be finalized or be more realized in 2025 as well. So that's a component to think about as you're.
Do we have like a ballpark number of what that would look like with the mill online for like a quarterly revenue stream?
Well, the first thing would be a $86,000 permit fee that would hit the bottom line.
Right.
I'm looking for my phone, trying my pocket.
Yeah, like what would
Are you talking 29 units or something else?
29.
Yeah. So minimums on.
What is that?
91,350 gallons a quarter,
Dollars.
divided by, what's a cubic foot?
7.481.
7481?
481?
Yeah.
I didn't know the
As
one.
far as I go.
7.48.
Yeah, how many decimals do you wanna go out?
It's like pi.
3.4.
I gotta do equals first, otherwise my order of operations is wrong. 12,212 cubic feet. Now I gotta go to our rate calculator.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you just do a minimum bill times 29?
Won't work that way. Minimum bill has a much higher number.
Right, I was thinking
Yep.
about that, right? It's billed as one unit, right? Kinda, all place.
Oh, is it?
I would think, yeah.
Well, if I did divide it by 500 cubic feet, because the minimum bill covers 500 cubic feet, right?
Yeah.
Divided by
Where everybody has their own meter.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like that, no.
So he's gonna have to get split the bill. They gotta be meter station property.
I don't think they're metering each unit for electricity. I don't believe they'll, I don't know.
No, I think with what they were saying, it's gonna be all part of the rent.
Yeah. all
Your water, your
inclusive.
electricity, all that stuff is all part of the rent. Cause in a big building like that, with the amount of people, it's really hard to put in that many meters, cause you figure 29 electric meters, 29 water meters, 29, and that's just for the first set, and it's supposed to go up to 100. It's a whole wall of everything.
Have to make it all go melt.
Yeah?
That would be.
So $5,000 a quarter. This is using the 35 gallons per
Just-
day per
yeah,
bedroom
just
number
a
that we
rough
use.
number,
So,
right,
yep,
yeah.
so. As long as they don't just leave the water running, it's gonna be $5,000 a quarter, $20,000 a year. So in the first year, it'd be a $100,000 increase to, or at least hit our project accounts essentially. So.
It doesn't seem accurate.
Does seem light, doesn't it?
You know, I mean, we got a business in town that uses $1,000 more than that a quarter.
That was more than 5?
It's $6,000 a quarter. We have a business in town that's $6,000 a quarter, so that's why I'm saying 5,000 for that seems awful light.
You're talking about laundromat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they use a shitload of water though.
I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, and they plan on no, and that bill's gonna go up because this building plans on no,
Right.
laundry facilities. So those would all be at that location too.
It's just a number to kind
Yeah.
of ballpark here, that's all. I just wanted to know.
Just curious to know what the.
And they're all one bedroom apartments. I bet it's a lot closer than you think. I mean, if my math is right, I don't know. We went back and forth a couple times there, but. I mean, if they were using the national average of 110 gallons a day per bedroom, it's way more than, you know.
Yeah,
way
the
more
usage
than that.
was 28,
What's that?
300.
Hey Justin, while they're going over that, who's the internet service provider here?
Good question. Is it Argent?
That's what I'm wondering, if you're using Argent here, or if you're using,
You got one gray hair and find the bills.
I'm trying to think of who,
you should be getting charged.
Consolidated communication.
Shouldn't be getting a charge. That's part of a contract with all town facilities
Yeah.
where
We got 4 different charges.
One's a phone, depends how we do the phone.
We got 2 for $9.30.
That would be the
and
phone.
2 for $60.50.
Sounds right.
The $60 would be your basic internet charge, but you guys shouldn't be getting charged anything. The phone line, we don't have any deals with the phone line.
This
You
is
get
right, and I don't
I'll have Jeremy look into that one, cause that does not, he needs to
I'm not
definitely.
understanding some of this.
Oh, he had a note too to me also, TJ, what you're talking about here. Let me see if he said something, anything particular about this. What did he
Cause
say?
that was part of the big contract.
Yeah, that's why I was like, should be free, so, and then we had this small village here, like $100 and something.
I mean, unless it's like cause you have telephone lines currently at like the pump stations, right?
Yep.
Which I know that price could be anything right now, cause
Yeah.
telephone lines are telephone lines.
So, under internet, his comment is water and sewer has an additional internet service connection through Consolidated Communications, like the police department. We should look into, see if it's necessary, see if it's something we actually need.
You have 2 connections down here?
Do we have one up at the tower or something, maybe?
I think they put it in, but there's nothing there. Cause that's all satellite.
Oh, it's satellite, so like the SCADA is all
Yep.
satellite,
Yep.
and it doesn't need any internet to run any of that.
Nope.
Okay. Maybe that's what we have and we're just paying for it and it hasn't been shut off. Yeah, 'cause I remember we used to
'Cause
like
we
not having
talked
cell
about
service up there and like,
When they came in and they did all the fiber, I pushed to get fiber to those sites because we could switch to a different SCADA system.
Right. Which would be, if you're using it though, and they should be able to tell. I'll have Jeremy ask them for the usage for those
Yeah.
the sites,
There
because they
shouldn't
can
be
tell
any
us exactly what it
usage.
is. And if there's not any usage, then you would just
Yep.
stop billing us for it. They shouldn't be billing anyways because it's a town facility no matter what.
Yeah.
That was part of the contract.
Yep.
If I have to, I'll pull the contract again. I have it somewhere. There were other parts of the contract I didn't think were written right, but that's me.
I might have a more accurate number here in a second. I've got a calculator that'll actually do the math on this.
On the internet, good job.
No.
Is this treasurer's salary,
I know. Big increase.
huge.
Who's the treasurer?
That's what kinda slid into that one.
Yeah, so what I have in the spreadsheet here, I have total cost with bond usage, which is the calculation that we're using now. In this particular situation, laundromat, for instance, has 13,200 cubic feet, and their bill is $29.39. So I'm not sure what he's talking about. So I have to look at but this project would be 29 units minimal usage of water and sewer. It'd be based on the 35 gallons. It would be, if I can find where I just changed that number. It'd be like $10,000 a year, not $20,000 a year, so. $12,212 cubic feet. About 12 grand a year. Plus 29 bonds.
Bond, James Bond.
And our current bond is 25. About $15,000 a year.
But the bond should be going to the bond payment, correct?
Right, we're gonna talk about that here in a second too.
So what do we need to make some kind of decision on this?
Well, part of it is we need to decide if we're going to take steps to create said expense, which is going to warrant a rate increase sooner than what I think would be reasonable to ask of the public. You want to give our new Facebook page a workout? Let's do an increase in January.
Yeah, I know, and, yeah, since you mentioned it, yeah, there was a post recently about that, and I couldn't even follow it. You know, there was mentions of someone posted some pictures of some other towns which were massive, you know, not really worth comparing, like, kind of impossible to compare the two. I mean, towns with populations of over 10,000 compared to us, and that sort of thing, so. And it's really unclear on how much certain towns use taxation of the entire town to cover some of their water and sewer expenses. That's a number that's kind of just, we don't know in a lot of places, but yeah, it was hard to follow. And then, you know, like the conversation around that other user, someone just really abuses their water. But it's not that they have a faucet running 24/7, so.
A little interesting anecdote on that. So after the rate increase, a friend of mine was like, my water bill seems really high. And when looking at it, it's water bill has been high right along. But now it's gotten to a threshold where it's like, well, this is too high. Did a little more research, did the food coloring in the toilet trick, noticed, yep, water is moving, and realized, which will be kind of a, you know, it'll be good because rate increases should help people, or it should encourage people to look for leaks, which will slow down just excess, you know, inflow down here. But once they find those leaks and cure them, we won't get the billing for it. But ultimately, recognize that a household that should absolutely be at the minimum is being charged like $380, is probably going to be at the minimum going forward. So there's two sides to that, you know, that sword. But at the same time, it's a good thing to keep usage down as much as possible.
Right.
And if rate increases are encouraging that, then I think that's necessarily a good thing. Our plant can't handle it, and we don't have the scale. It's like just doing those numbers on the mill project, for instance, like that's going to be like one of the biggest attachments to the system, and dollar-wise, it's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even scratch the surface of the new hire that we're looking at on this budget, you know. So it's like we really need to, like, how do we get everybody in Troy on the system, you know? But our system will never handle that, so we are in a real pickle at the pickle plant. So, but I'm talking a little more grandiose at this point. But in the meantime, those are, I mean, these are stepping stones to those bigger issues that we're going to have to tackle as we plod along here.
Yeah, so just thinking out loud, I mean, obviously I wanna get you on a schedule that's more comfortable on that, but I just, you know, and as quickly as possible, it does seem like, but, you know, again, just thinking out loud, it seems like we're gonna have to move up from within and hope that we can fill either one of those positions that are open on this budget, right? Like, we might have a problem filling either one of them, so.
We haven't technically posted the other one yet, though, have we?
No. But I would agree, in that same token, it would be nice to be, have maybe a year between rate increases. So maybe that being said, I don't know what that looks like on a budget form. This is all new to me. So if we just leave this as something that triggers the rate increase and let it ride, what does that look like on this sheet?
So if we leave it alone, there's a couple of things that happen. The funds will have to be, and because the sewer department, the water sewer department is part of the overall operating budget of the town as well. The funds will be raised by taxation, so it'll be baked into that calculation. So no matter what, all of these funds will be raised by taxation. So, and then those, before anybody actually gets charged those taxes, the amount that the department kicks in to pay our budget is taken out of that. So they don't actually, they won't actually get charged that amount. But if we haven't raised enough money to cover it, that $44,000 deficit will actually show up in the raising of taxation. But it'll show up in the tax surplus when we get to the end of the year. So, and the select board, if we work with them on this, we should be able to show that, hey, we had this number in here as a placeholder, but technically we're not spending that, we didn't spend it, so please make sure you give it back to the taxpayers. So we could put it in there, but it's really not the most responsible way to budget. It should be a solid plan as to what we want to do and put the number in that we're planning for. That's the way it should be. There are some other ways to do it, like I just described, but.
Right. So I'll ask another question. How do we use townwide taxation on a regular basis, and how much is that usually?
The only thing we use townwide taxation for down here is the bond payments. And if you look down on the sewer bond reimbursement, which is about a third of the way down the page, right now we raise from the water sewer district $38,654 and give that back to the town. That goes towards about a $90-something thousand bond, I think.
It's like, it was $60,000 this year that was general taxation. Like 2 years ago, it was $85,000, because we increased how much we're paying, and the bonds are obviously getting lower because we have 2 more years paid into them, so. It was about 60 grand this year.
And typically, like
So
you
that's
said,
the number that you're asking specifically, is $60,000 that we raise from general taxation, which includes everybody in the water sewer district and everybody outside the water sewer district.
And if the town does its taxes on time, we'll know that within a year and a half to 2 years what is over for the general taxation, what wasn't used, which is the surplus, which then we always use the surplus to buy down the tax rate. Which a lot of people are like, oh, you need to use all the money you have, but there's actually laws that limit how much we can use and bring down from taxes.
And it is an asset to the town, so as much as I don't want to pay for it where I'm at, I can see why it would be a townwide tax. To some degree, like, what I mean? That's not out of the question.
So I think the right thing to do here is commit to doing something less than this and put it in our budget. So set our budget at something less than this. We've had this job posted for a while, which obviously that was going to prompt us raising rates or whatever. How long have we had it posted? 4 months? 5 months?
It's solid 3, but yeah.
3.
Adam will tell us.
Oh,
Yep.
I was technically.
You're the one that posted it. So.
I know.
Just for context, I'm just trying to see what we've gotten, like 2 applicants in whatever that time period is. We can extrapolate that a bit.
So you're saying just knock down the number but leave the placeholder in
Yeah, Yeah, bring the number down, get rid of the full benefits package that would go along with that, and leave enough in there to commit to maybe a part-time or something along those lines, and encourage you to work with Ernie to figure out something. Because I think we'd certainly be open, as long as DES is okay with it, we'd be open to you guys swapping,
Yeah.
doing every other week, and being the rotation for each other in those two, and if that's whether they bill us, we bill them, and when we do it on the books, or if it's just a straight trade and we do it under some sort of written agreement. I don't know what he has in mind or whatever, but
Yeah,
it's
I'll talk to him tomorrow and see what he has in mind.
okay. Now, if we can do that, go ahead, Adam.
It was late July.
Late July. Okay, so it hasn't been that long,
Two and a
but
half months.
yeah.
Does he have a board over there, or does he just report to the select board?
I think selectmen.
So, I think this hinges on what you hear on that. If that was able to work, would you be okay with this whole plan of like kind of not kicking the can down the road, but allowing us to evolve a little
Yep.
until the end of next year
Yeah.
to start this next step, and allow for us to maybe hire in somebody that's part-time that might grow into a full-time position that's going to actually be a licensed staff member at some
Yep.
point or whatever. Would that work for you? If you
Yep.
can work this out with. If it doesn't work with Ernie, what does that mean? You
I
can't be
mean,
on
we-
call forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally committing
Well,
to being on
I'm
call for a year.
really I really hope Tobin gets his license. Like I think he stands a pretty good chance at getting his grade 1 and moving him up.
And now, can he be on call? What can he be on call with?
Grade 1.
Grade 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would get that information to Dick as fast as possible.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
should be like.
And like literally put anything on there that makes,
Yeah.
Yep.
could even remotely be considered, all he can do is just not include it. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, if Justin's alright with it, yeah, it makes sense to me to turn it into a part-time, right, cause then that automatically strips out the health benefits, right?
Yeah, that takes the 36 out of there. It takes 13% of the 75, whatever that is, out of the New Hampshire retirement number. So it drops a couple of numbers down quite a bit. So in that figure there, so if we look at the next number down, it's $26,000 for, and I just threw a number together here, so I don't know what this is actually going to be, but part-time office position, somebody that's qualified to be in the office doing, administrative work, 20 hours a week at $25 an hour, no benefits. That's $26,000 right there. So if we put something like that in this, it's under the assistant superintendent salary line, but if we put something like that in here and made it a part-time position, that would literally cut out 50, 86, like, and 10, 9, almost $100,000 out of the budget just by doing that, and that would leave 26 in there for a part-timer should we want to bring in somebody, even summer help, and just give them a try and see how they're working out, and then oh well, this person's working really well and they're done with school this year and we want to hire them full time, or something along those lines.
Yep.
That would at least give us that opportunity, and it would our budget would look like it actually has a plan.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Okay. I'm going to change 75 to 26. And I'm going to take 36 out of the line item for healthcare. Because that's a huge number. Change that to 50. One of the things that's changed dramatically is our last full-timer did the buyout and got either $5,000 or $10,000. So a single now is 13 grand. So a single used to be 9. So the buyout's still an option too, in case you want it.
I don't need insurance.
No. I don't think you take the buyout unless you have, unless your significant other or whatever has insurance that covers you. But I'm pretty sure that's the rule, but.
We don't believe in rules.
Skip the rules already. Okay, so, this is obviously taking us a minute here, but, then we skip down to, the laborer position. I have that in there with, again, we can talk about this in non-public, but I just added a 3% increase for 2025, so it's the current figure plus 3%. I don't know if 3% is even correct anymore, so, but that's the number that had been kind of floating around forever, so.
Those old ones, with the newest inflation, it's a lot higher than 3.
Yeah, it seems like 3 isn't gonna cover inflation, that's for sure.
3.5.
No matter which side wins the presidency, it's gonna be shit.
All right, now that we've taken our black pill, thanks TJ. So that one's pretty straightforward. The pager compensation, I lowered that down to $2,600. And that was because we've got pager compensation baked into Justin's salary, but there's no reason why, if he's gonna continue to be on call for both those time periods each week and not have a week on and a week off, that we can't pay the pager time for something that we weren't planning on with Justin. So we should, I'm gonna leave it in there, obviously, I think that makes sense, and then, if he doesn't work, as long as he continues to work all on call forever, and nobody's covering you, it seems like the $2,600 should be yours for that opposite week, because that's not what we had in the cards, so. But we can, again, talk about that in greater detail in non-public as well. All right, so the treasurer, he got a $100 raise just because he had no idea what his pay was down here. So I thought it was $2,000, but it's been $2,100 for quite some time. Yeah, it's $2,101 for some weird reason.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So we did I did a $500 increase. I actually did a $499 increase to $2,600. So that really should be $2,601. That's what the treasurer was requesting, right?
Make it even, yeah, make it even.
All right, $2,600 it is. All right, he gave us $1. So generous. So
There you go,
generous.
Clark.
I was just gonna ask if there was no dickering on this, or just like,
Nope,
We
here we are.
discussed it,
no, I know,
at one of the
No, here we
meetings,
are.
yeah.
Feel free to dicker.
Oh.
We have made it to the line item.
Oh.
That was just a request.
I think you
No.
put together an excellent explanation of ours, and I think you both deserve at least $100.
All right, so moving on, property taxes. I think this is accurate. It was 9702 last year. If you double up the June payment, it's 9704. This goes back to what TJ was saying earlier. Long overdue is a little bit of a battle with Jaffrey on this as to why we're paying this in the first place, being a municipal entity. So we need to, and when we get down to the attorney, that's one of the reasons I left the attorney number up, so that we could pay our attorney, Jason, not the one we're working with right now, but to kind of take that battle on. I remember when I first brought it up to him, he said that it's not likely that he would get anything in arrears that we've already paid. Certainly try, but if it was to pan out, it would likely be something going forward, whatever it is settled on, or maybe it's zero going forward. So
do we have money in our budget for? Do we have money left in our budget for legal?
to work on it this year, maybe. I don't know. Take a look. 2024 expenditures.
I'm just wondering if we should stick him on there immediately before
Legal
next time.
expenses is a
Overspent,
third of the way up
but-
from the bottom. Nope, we're over budget.
You could still start them on it. I mean,
We got, the retainer back, which obviously doesn't show there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're still over budget. The way the accounting works, we're still over budget.
$2,600 came in.
Yeah.
but you guys have other lines you can.
Yeah, we're gross-based budgeting, so we can definitely take it out of here if we're well under budget, so.
I would have to try and work on it before the next bill comes in.
Well, I'm just wondering if he what do I wanna say, notifies them that if that just starts the ball bouncing from that point on, I guess would be my question. Like if he sends it in now, gets,
Does that stop us from paying it until the case is settled? Is that what you mean?
or just, at least if we're just going forward, I just don't wanna get through get another tax bill and then we're,
All right, so, well, this is totally out of context, but we happen to be working on it in the budget, so do you guys want me to, so, would you want me to contact Reimers to, take this on and move forward with it? I talked to him in another context, so it didn't cost us any money then, but if I call him now and say, go ahead and go get him.
that's, would be my, I mean, I know I've been talking about this for 3 years, so.
Okay, well, let's do a vote on that so that I'm operating with the fourth authority. Yeah.
You gonna motion it, or you?
No, you're gonna
It
have
sounds
me
like
do
you
it.
wanted the motion.
No, I motion to contact Ramers, the attorney, about the tax bill.
To have Ben do it.
Okay, have Ben contact.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You have all the groundwork already done for it, 'cause
Yeah,
you have all the information.
Yeah, we do,
for it.
yeah, so it's really, this has kind of been like start and stop for a couple of times now, so. Alright, so the next line is advertising, we never spend anything out of it, but keep $1 in there just in case we do have to spend something out of that line item. Building maintenance and repair is, missing some expenditures that have happened in this line item this year. And honestly, once we get our feet underneath us, we really should be doing more building maintenance and repair. If you've been around the place at all, you'll realize that the place needs paint and scraping and anything else we can possibly do to.
That might fall
Pretty
into
it up.
the, position the selectmen are working on. The
What?
facilities,
Is this all stuff that we could plan on doing in-house, would be my only question.
We have more line items for, this is all in-house stuff here. We have
This
more.
is just for
Yeah,
in-house.
and we could take from this line item if we were doing a contract or whatever, but we have another line item for that. Yeah,
Well, I didn't read it from every line item on, so.
yeah, but this would be like if you were buying materials to, put some more T-111 on the headworks or something along those lines, and Tobin's out there doing it, you know, painting and whatever,
Key.
fixing the skylight at Gravel Pack.
That's already fixed.
I know.
Right.
Did it for free.
Perfect, that's why there's $6.25 spent so far this year.
No, I didn't even buy anything. We had all the stuff here.
All right, so, and I've gone over every one of these numbers with Justin already as we go down through here to make sure that they're gonna work for him, so, just so everybody knows that.
Public Works Director.
Public Works Director, yep. So computer services, couple of questions that we had was, let's see if Jeremy got back to me on that. He answered most of the other ones in here, so I'm betting that I have what I need here. Computer services, recent monthly invoices are showing $346.80 being charged to water sewer. He'll dig to get a better number for total annual cost. So didn't really answer the question. One of the questions that I do have, I'm sure when he digs, he'll figure out what else is in here. But we're wondering where the census support figure of 3,500 or 3,300. I think I got 3,500 on here, but didn't you say it was 3,300 for the census report?
35.
Oh, it's 3,500. Okay, so I do have the right number. So, but I added it anyway. I added $3,500 from the census support into this number here. I don't know where it had been paid out of in the past, so I've asked Sarah to take a look at that
Is
and
it
figure that out for us.
Or monthly payment?
I don't know. I think it's annual, right? Is that an
Yes.
annual payment, Justin?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Huh?
oh, I just moved over to a PDF. I wonder why I can't type into it.
I brought it
Okay.
in.
Alright, so the next line is, disability insurance. I'll go through,
Been sitting in the truck for a week.
Jeremy's numbers and just double check that, make sure I got that right. He gave me some more concrete information on that, but it's close. Dues, memberships, and subscriptions, Justin said that was okay. Sewer bond reimbursement, so this was the next larger conversation. So the intent here was, we were at $20,499. We went up in 2 increments so far, correct? Or did we just make one change on this?
I think just one.
One.
So 38.
So we were gonna do $18,000 a year for over a 5-year period? That seems like too much.
This is,
To cover the full bond at the end of 5 years was our plan.
Well, we moved it up 18 in 1 year.
Yep.
We did that last year and this year.
Right, we stated that number. We only moved it once, but we stated that number.
Yeah.
So anyway, the original idea was to, partially in my naivety and not realizing that the water and sewer department was in such dire straits, was to increase this number so that the water sewer department was paying its own bond. We moved it up 1 year, and then realized that moving that up and then we already added a $765,000 bond to this, and we're never going to, the water sewer department's never gonna catch up to that. So I left it alone for this year, and we'll try to bring it up again next year. One of the options for basically asking the townspeople to support the water sewer department in a way that is a little more spread out would be to reduce this number to 0. And it puts that $38,000 back on the taxpayer, all taxpayers, including non-water sewer participants, but it frees up $38,000 in our budget to fund the project accounts and whatever else it is we need to do down here. I'm on the fence about whether or not that's it's a spot where we can make an adjustment do it very transparently, go to the town meeting and say, hey, we would like to not pay this to the town and put it into the water sewer department's project accounts going forward until whatever time we get on our feet, and then let the people at town meeting can vote to decide that, and we can make that adjustment according to that. So it would be a very transparent move, but we'd have to go and actually ask them to do that.
So
So
it'd just be in an effort to not do an increase, right, like that? would
Yep.
be kind of
that's kind of the
More
idea, is we're gonna
complicated.
hold off on an increase, and of course, the taxpayer that isn't on the water sewer system is gonna say, well, I don't give a shit if you have an increase or not, I'm not there, I don't wanna pay for it. And some people may feel differently. They may be realizing that, having a water sewer district that is functional is going to be beneficial to the, heartbeat of the town, essentially. But at the same time, I don't disagree with those that are not on the system, that recognize that we've kind of, screwed the pooch a little down here and not saved up over the years and have let the system slide and yada yada, so.
and how many more payments we have left on that bond?
One is 27, the water is in 27, and the sewer ends in 29. Or the water ends in 29, the sewer ends in 27. And by then, we will have a new bond. The amount is $765, but we have a credit of $266, so call it $265. So the new bond amount would be $500,000 over 20 years. So won't be a huge payment, but it'll be.
So essentially, we're looking to let them take it over for the next 5
Or
years and
keep
then-
it the same, or
Yeah, it's gonna be the same. I mean, we've been paying under the bond payment forever, so we've actually paid more towards the bond payment in the last couple of years than we ever have. So, as you can see, back in 2022, it was $20,499. That's what it used to be. So, but that would ask them to pay through the end of the bond, which would be through 29, and maybe our compromise with that, we'd pick up the new bond, you know, cause that's only 25.
That's just, so that's, but this,
Right.
this
Go
one's
ahead, Evan.
just the sewer bond, the 38,000 is just the sewer bond, correct? The
It
water
is,
bond-
it only goes to the sewer bond, but I look at it as an aggregate whole, because the town is paying for the water bond and the sewer bond, which leaves them paying about 60, if we pay them the 38, they're gonna pay 60,000 of those two numbers, like the aggregate total.
Mhm.
So it's about $98,000 after we get our reimbursements at the end of the year from the state. It's about $98,000, we pay in 38, they pay 60. It changes a little bit as the, you know, as the payment schedule, as we get closer to the end, but, the long and the short of it is, we would not pay the 38, they would pay the full 98, and that would be, at our current tax rate would be, do you know what the dollar is? So for every dollar of, taxation covers a certain amount of, what's their valuation, town valuation?
240,
240?
239 million,
Alright, so for every,
$240,000.
so for every dollar of tax rate, it's $240 of, is that right? Am I doing that right?
Well, usually we'll wheel that right off.
Yeah, no, I brain's not functioning right now. Alright, I guess I gotta go with the calc, this should be a
It's
real easy
98,000,
number.
is that what you're trying, the number you're trying to get?
$240 million. Right, divided by 1,000.
Should be every $240,000 in taxes raises the rate by $1.
Yep, correct.
So,
Yep, so this would raise, so this would be 1/6 of that. This would raise the tax rate 16 cents. Our current tax rate, anybody know? Please, somebody in the room's gotta know this. I should know
I
it.
knew it, but I've tried to wipe it from my memory.
17 something, 18.
No, it wasn't that high.
Lagoons are the dams.
I called up the fast and goes, yeah, like, you don't have to pay for that, and they're like, you're not paying for it, and I'm like, well, I just gotta pay for it, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
here. That's an interesting way to put it.
Anyway, so when you put it that way, you know, it's, and obviously that would be the pitch we would offer the town at town meeting, is that if we do away with this, it's gonna give you an increase of 20 cents on your tax bill, per 1,000. So the $100,000 home is gonna have a, it's gonna get $20 a year. Is that right?
yeah.
Yep. So the $400,000 home is gonna go up $100. I mean, $80 in a year.
123 Happy Street will complain. Cause that
So-
makes it worse, you can't buy a pack of smokes.
I see why he doesn't say Main Street, because that would actually be a number.
I Now I
Oh.
figured that out after
Yeah,
after I
Main
always
Street
hear
would be
Dick
like
say
the
1, 2,
number,
3
that
Happy
would have
Street.
what I would use as the description, but anyway, so something to think about here. I think we leave it right in the budget just the way it is, and we talk about it as we get closer to town meeting as to whether or not we want to ask for that, and then keep that number at 0 until the 765 closes, till that loan closes on the plan, and then we start paying that number directly out of here. The whole payment, which would be, I mean, minus the interest, it would be, $25,000 plus interest a year, so. $30-some thousand a year, so it would be a little bit less than this number, but we'd at least be paying our own bond at that point.
So you're basically saying just have them take it over for the rest of it, and then as soon as this other one kicks in next year, we're gonna pay that.
Yeah, we'll pay that one, yep.
Just to try to get it caught up.
Yep, just to pay our share. I mean, we should have been paying our share right along, but it's mounting at this point, and what we're realizing is that we don't have enough customers, so we need to share the load, and
Yeah, but we should be, I mean, we need some forgiveness here, and I think that that is a plan.
you know, I think in a
It's not a
perfect.
great one, but it's a plan.
Well, and I think another thing that exists here is inflation is a thing, but not like it is in this industry. I mean, it was $20,000 to dredge that lagoon in 2004. That's what it was. They were like, well, it's going to be another 20. We'll leave it. Now it's like millions to haul all of that sludge out of that lagoon and do exactly what they were going to do in 2004. It's like 1,000-fold more expensive, you know. So, I mean, some of it is the fault of poor planning, but a lot of it is the fault of just the industry just being just stupid expensive to try to operate in. So, and regulated, just as it needs to be, but probably too much. Anyway, soapbox put away. So yeah, that's the long and the short of that. We can talk about that more as we get closer, and $38,000 is gonna stay in the budget. Everybody ready to move on? Electricity, 64.8 is, looks like it's still gonna be good. So hopefully we have this all paid for by solar at some point, so that would be great. But I think, annualizing do I have that right? $52,000 so far. Nope, this really needs, just looking at it quickly, it needs to be 69. Like by the end of the year, it looks like this number is gonna be about $69,000 this year. So we should at least do the number that we're gonna pay this year, next year. And look at 2023's expenses, it was $70,660. So something happened where we got into this great deal on electricity in 2023. I remember signing this contract or whatever, and our price went through the roof. 2022 was 50,000, then it was 70, and it stays that way. So this should be $70,000. Sorry for the oversight. And there's no way of getting around that. Well repair. I left this at $15,000. We're still waiting on some bills, so that's why the 2024 expenditures are at 0 right now. I left it there because, I don't know, we've worked on wells for the last couple of years, and the ones we worked on hadn't been serviced in a decade and a half or something like that. So if that's the case for the wells that we have worked on, it seems that we probably have more well work to do. So I left that to 15,000. Justin and I talked about that. We came to the same conclusion, so unless you guys see any reason to change it.
What other well we got then?
Well, it depends what they let us do at number 4 for one. We're repairing that.
Bedrock, when was the
Bedrock
last time?
too.
Yeah, but Bedrock isn't that was serviced not long ago, right? Because they deepened it.
Yep, that wasn't that long
I bet you look at the date though, it's longer than you think. How long ago was that?
Well, he was here, so
ago.
he's got,
2010,
it's less than 20 years.
2010, 2011.
Decade and a half. Everybody okay with leaving that for?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we don't have to spend it, that's another thing too, so. Can you fact check me, Adam, at some point on the budget itself and raising it regardless of expenditure in an enterprise account? Because we technically are an enterprise fund down here. So normally, like the operating budget for the town, we raise the whole amount. We use that against the whole taxation, and then we use prior years, like TJ was explaining, prior years audited surpluses to buy down the tax rate for the year that we maybe didn't spend as much as the budget is. But regardless, we raise the tax amount, we raise like we were gonna spend the whole budget, we raise all of that in taxation. And the only way we buy that down is with prior year's audits. How does that same exact functionality apply to what's considered technically an enterprise fund, the water sewer department? So, and you don't have to do it now, but just, if you could just double check that for me, that'd be great. As I was saying it earlier, it was getting jumbled in my head, like, that doesn't sound right. So, the state dam fee, $750, that hasn't changed. We pay that every year. That's for the lagoons. They are actually considered dams. Equipment purchase. This is, Justin, we talked about this one, right? This is a little bit, we have a small tools one also, don't we?
Yep.
Okay, so what do we put in under this line item? We left it the same and didn't really change it, but what do we put under here for equipment purchases?
Well, last year, I'm pretty confident that we were told like chainsaws, that compactors and that.
Yeah.
And we have a small tools,
That's not very,
we have a small tools line item too.
which is like power tools and shovels, rakes, things like that.
Yeah, like a drill and that stuff. So like if you needed an LMI pump, I'm assuming this would come out of the equipment purchase line
Yeah.
item? Okay, yeah, alright.
What does? Well, that can't be right.
Is there another spot where that would come out?
I have no
Yeah,
idea,
I
but
don't
we
know.
bought 2 LMI pumps this year, so that can't, if that's the case, then that's not,
Have you got the bill yet?
it was Tom, or no, it was Nick. No, it was Tom that bought them.
And we just got that one in back when Robert was here.
Right, because you waited forever for them to
Yeah.
actually arrive, right?
No.
How much do these things
We've
cost a
ordered
piece?
another one since then, because Tom put one in down there and it didn't have the plug, and it had to be changed. Right? Didn't, it would hook up to the.
No, that was the pulse detector that he got. The pulse detector wouldn't
There's a
hook up.
materials / parts line that maybe somebody coded it
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, that could have been.
Yeah, because when we talked about
Parts.
materials parts, we were talking about like a length of pipe, connections, valves, things that you're doing repairs in the ground, like
Yeah.
infrastructure, replacement parts.
Yeah, that's.
And
the
you
one
could
we were
you could see
talking
how an LMI pump might end up going to that, but an LMI pump is technically equipment, so.
Yeah, just depends if it was one that coded.
Exactly, yep. So, but I can see how it would get moved over there. But if we get too hung up on the expenditures and how they were coded, would never get done. Cause I have questions about a lot of them, Courtney, too, so. Equipment purchase, $3,300, so we'll leave that one there. Just seems to think that was gonna be fine based on what he believes belongs in that line item for next year. Equipment repair, left this alone at $5,000. It looks like we come close to that in 23. We've been pretty reasonable in 24 so far, but I don't know if there's anything that's gonna need to be done here. And we were pretty low in 22, so this should be more than enough to cover it. General supplies, kept this the same because of historicals. It looks like we're pretty close to that number. What do you put under general supplies when you code things? It's just like cleaning material, cleaning supplies and
Yeah, rubber
Rubber gloves.
gloves. That comes in bulk, so.
okay.
I haven't had to buy anything, thankfully, because we got plenty right now, but.
So can we better organize, or,
So I know exactly what you're saying, and I think that's absolutely something that should be part of the SOP, right? Is going through the budget, every single line item, at least putting generally what needs to be coded into that, so that anybody sitting at that desk, when you get your 20-hour person, knows how to code the invoicing when it comes in,
That's-
because because everybody with their own idea of how to code something, if there's something that is like just arbitrary and it's a one-off and it doesn't really fit into any category, well, you kind of get creative about that. But there's a lot of things we do over and over and over again, and they just all, you or whoever's doing the you know, having the invoices paid is going to decide how to code that, and if we had an SOP for that, that'd be ideal. Is that what you're getting at, Courtney?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was a line item, I mean, he said rubber gloves, and I'm not disagreeing with him, but I would thought there was a thing in here for safety equipment, so I'm just, I guess if there was, is there? I don't know.
No, we don't have a safety line item. We do have a
Uniform.
uniform line item, I was gonna say, yeah. So rubber gloves is really part of the uniform down here. It should be. Alright. So,
Who's gonna write the SOP?
don't know yet, but it's just,
Gotta be some financial capability.
well, it's not really, it's just a matter of doing it the same way every time. Honestly, as long as it's done the same way every time and we can budget based on it, doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't think you're gonna put, you know, a new chainsaw in labor contracted services, you know? I don't think you're gonna make that mistake, but. Health insurance, I bounced that down to $50,000, based on our discussion earlier. Labor contracted services, I left that, I took, it was $70,000 because we were looking at potentially doing something with maybe Whitewater or a third party. Brought it back down to $2,500. This is gonna cover, you know, whether we need a little bit of tree work or some sort of vendor that's gonna come in and handle something for us that that isn't a capital expense that we would, and doesn't fit into the building and repairs stuff, so. Just thought $2,500 would suffice for this, cause they do a lot of their own stuff down here.
What about repairing our roads?
Do we have to hire that out?
It really should be done with a grader, so, I mean, I don't know.
Yep, no,
I
that's a good
would
point.
neglected that, I mean,
Let's wait till Justin gets back, cause that way we can kinda have a full conversation on it, cause if that number needs to go up, that's fine. If there's things that are,
Under road repair.
do we have a line item for road
I
repair?
think
Yes,
it's, I
road
think it's
repair
material.
/ cold patch
Yeah,
/ HT.
Yeah, I don't, I
That's
hate,
the materials for,
I'd hate to hit that for,
No, I would say put it under there.
no, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying no, because when road repair is like when we're digging up a road. So the question is, the contract services, Justin, 2,500. Well, you know, gravel pack, all our roads need to be repaired. So, are you confident, I mean, don't you, I mean, we think it needs a grader, obviously, we've always thought that, so I mean, are we gonna, is this number gonna be enough for that? I mean, we need to get this done, it's, I mean, obviously not now.
I'm not sure what it's gonna cost to grade that. To grade it out.
do we have a York rake for the,
No, we were
No.
supposed to get,
Yeah,
looking to buy one.
I just have flashbacks, we did have this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
we're gonna-
detailed.
But I mean, at this point, I think the things, I mean, the York rake's great, but I think it needs to be drawn in, I mean, it needs.
Yeah, the
I
York
think
rake
it's
is
too-
the in-between
We-
gradings.
The York rake is the maintenance of it.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
We last month had the loader up there and backbladed it all. It came out pretty nice. Then it poured, but there's a little rut, but not terrible.
If you're confident with it, I guess,
That's what I always used to do. Unless it got bad, and just take the loader and back drag it all.
okay,
You okay with that, Courtney?
yep,
Okay.
sounds good.
Computer supplies. This is another one, some of these budget line items are weird, and you'll find this throughout the entire budget, we deal with this on the budget committee. Computer supplies and office supplies, how are they different? I mean, this would be ink for the printer and things like that, but, I left it at 800, I'm not sure exactly what gets put in here. You can see that some years we put more, in it. 2022, I don't think we bought a PC, maybe we bought a laptop or something, but that would be
I think it was
office.
that laptop.
Yeah, and I don't know, computer supplies, it doesn't make any sense, the name of the account doesn't make any sense, but it's only $800 and it seems like we've been using it for something, so. I know ink goes in there, right, is that true? Ink goes in
Yep.
that one,
Yep.
okay, so. Internet, so I left this at $1. I read off what Jeremy said about this. We have to find the phantom internet connection that we don't use or need and have it shut off. So I'll follow up with Jeremy on that and see if there's any more detail and find out what we need to do there. Life insurance is, I think it's accurate based on the numbers Jeremy gave me. It probably includes a little bit more for the extra staff member that we're no longer gonna, the extra full-timer that we're no longer gonna hire for 2025, so it's probably closer to $100. Meal reimbursement, I left that at $500. We haven't spent any in a couple of years, but I do believe that with us trying to fast-track Tobin into some certification, travel might be increased and meal reimbursement would apply at that time. Liability insurance, these are numbers that I got from Jeremy. I think they might change a little bit when he gets his final figures later in October, but these should get us close. He said the last year's numbers should be close, so that's why I have last year's numbers in there. Equipment rental, left this up at 7,500. Obviously you can see my note, this is for just in case as we evolve in this generator situation that that's not the only 1982 generator that we have, and a rental of a generator might be required. I don't think we've really used this line item all that much in the past, unless we were renting maybe a mini excavator or something like that. And I think we rented that from you at times, didn't we, Justin, back in the day? So, so that's why I left it. Justin seemed to agree with that, so that's where we're at there. Materials, parts. This is bumped up to $20,000 from $15,000. We overspent it a little bit each year anyway, and this is the line item we were talking about for lengths of pipe and gate valves and whatever, you know, meter spuds and all anything that we might need, meters, things like that.
Hydrants, is that in this?
Hydrant parts. I don't think it was going to be new hydrants,
Okay,
but I think it was going to be hydrant parts. I think the hydrant
This
is
is up to 15.5 already.
right, and that's not a monthly number, so that could be. He expects you expected that to go over by the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna, or even more than that, because you're gonna do Bert's.
Yep.
Yeah.
As soon as the hydrant comes in.
Yeah.
I ordered it 3 weeks ago.
And are we putting the actual purchase of the hydrant under materials and parts?
That's what I had planned on.
Okay. We don't have another spot for that. It's probably the spot that makes sense.
Office
Yeah, right, exactly. But that's the SOP, you put it anywhere you want. The one we discussed earlier was new equipment, right? Equipment purchase, yeah, so that's not it. Alright, yep, so that would fall under that category, so. But I think a larger hydrant project like you guys were talking about needs to be more of a capital purchase, like looking at it out of the project, water project account, which I don't think we have any much left in that. Looking at it out of PDIP and looking at it maybe a warrant article.
You did give me those, I did not.
I'm trying to think of, materials and some of that money come from like what we're doing out there in Headworks or anything? No.
No.
No, all of that was part of the CWSRF funding.
That's what I thought,
Yep.
so I'm just like,
Yeah, you're wondering what the balance consists of.
well, right, but if things are coded in there incorrectly, then that would be why that's so high. I don't remember, I mean,
So I can add so I can send a request to Sarah, and she can give me a detailed itemized report out of BMSI. That will give us every individual transaction under each line item. It'd be a lengthy report, but I can just send it to everybody in email, so you can dig through that stuff, Courtney, and it'll be beneficial too for creating that SOP going forward. If it, you can look back at the history in the account and say, well, this is something we normally put in here, and then you can
I
look
wish
at it,
we had-
Courtney, and say, well, this $5,000 something or other that belongs in a different account, you know, so. And honestly, Justin, you should be looking at it for that, exactly.
What did, just real quickly, when did we didn't do, the crossover, on 22, right? Russell to Brook, was it 21 or 22?
21, I believe.
Okay.
I believe.
Just,
Yeah.
oh, there again, it wouldn't matter, I don't know where they took that money from.
Yeah, the 22 numbers on this report are funky because they combined, there's some weird stuff going on in the accounting that, some of them are reliable. When I said
So-
it's combined, it means it got combined with something else, like water tests and sewer tests are combined together, that's weird. Materials and parts looks like it's an accurate number.
So we could just, with the SOP thing real quick, I mean, it basically could just be a index of,
Yep. What belongs to
you know, 7309 or whatever, 7309, and these are the line items that go in that.
Yep, and because we purchase a lot of the same things all the time, it should be pretty easy to develop. And honestly, you could do it in real time. You could build out the thing, you know, like have the chart of accounts, and then room to jot down what you put under each account, and then, so as you go along, every time you have an invoice come in, you decide where you really want that to be, you put it on there, and it becomes the permanent location for it going forward. So you could build it out over the course of a year. You wouldn't have to sit down and actually build it all at once. So, and that would probably be the easiest way to do it.
Well, I just think it would be so much, I mean, these numbers are up and down like this, it would be,
If they're
It's
up and
clear.
down, if they're up and down because they have the same things going into them and we just spend different amounts each year, that's okay. If they're up and down because we keep putting random shit in the wrong account, that's not okay. So I get what you're saying, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, well, we'll boost this, we'll boost this, we'll boost this, and then it's not because,
Yeah.
Yeah, like computer supplies and office supplies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about semantics here. Sounds like the same thing. I think it's the same dollar amount. I think they have 800 in each one, don't they?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do now. Yeah.
So yeah, same. I got a response from Jeremy on this specifically. And he said, what did he say? Office supplies. They had been using a surplus of water sewer pre-stamped envelopes left over from previous orders to mail out quarterly bills and late notices. They've got to order those going forward, which is estimated to cost $2,500 a year, $500 per box. The trifold paper for bills is estimated to cost $50 and another $50 for file folders. This doesn't include any office supplies that Justin may need down here.
Okay, I did give Abby, permission at one point to order perforated, so that they're reasonably foldable and durable.
So Jeremy's recommending that this be 2,600 plus any office supplies that are needed down here at the, locally. I remember Rhonda doing this in bulk. She would buy it like one big lump, and then it would last like 2 years, and then she stamped envelopes.
You guys can
I
just
don't know why we don't meter if we're gonna send out that much stuff, but
Get your little.
No, we did it,
Yeah.
but it got meter, it's too
Exactly.
expensive.
yeah, because there is a point where it's like, you know, if you don't do enough metering, just paying the rental on the machine and stuff doesn't make it worth it. But if you do enough metering, it's worth it. So probably we were under that threshold. So this line item should change. I'm guessing he's saying $2,600 plus what we need down here, which is minimal. Plus we have a computer.
Supplies.
Computer supplies line item up there. So if we went 2,800 on this, should be more than enough for what they need up there. And stop signing the checks, Adam. Jeez.
well, there is a line item for postage.
Yeah.
We have a postage.
Yeah, right
Oh, that's
below.
perfect. No, that's good. So
Between all those, it needs to be 26.
we got to add those up and have it be the 2,800 total. So that's
That
gonna,
is currently 2,800. If you had those 3 lines.
Mhm.
Computer supplies, office supplies, and postage is 2,800 total.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, but you were gonna,
Nope, that's good.
didn't you just say you were gonna bump that up to 2,800 and the other line item you were gonna leave for down here?
No, I was just saying office supplies to cover what Jeremy needs, but it looks like postage should cover some of that, because in his list of stuff that he needs is postage. So $1,200 should be going towards Jeremy. And then, this $800 for office, for computer supplies is more than what Justin needs, probably $600 more than what Justin needs. So if we take 600 out of that, put it in this, it will be correct. So do you guys want me to shuffle that all around so that so there's $200 in computer supplies, that's for
Down
for down here.
Alright, it's not 250 this year, 245 this year.
And again, who knows what's going into it, that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright, so I'll do that, so $200 down here. And then I'm going to change, catch me if I'm wrong here. I'm gonna change the
Where do we
postage
have
to
propane?
2,500, right?
Propane, we have propane here, we have propane at
And then the
gravel
office
pack
supplies
and
are 100.
bedrock.
Yep.
With the
Yeah,
tank
so-
site,
Okay.
Inside the buildings.
tanks outside.
Alright, so postage
Yeah.
is good based on that number.
They run the
What
generator.
are we working on?
Heat,
Yeah.
heat here, generators at the
Propane.
gravel pack.
So we only got
Propane,
propane heat here. And the other one?
And at the tank site.
Propane,
There's
propane.
heat and
Here's
generator.
We're packing.
Gravel pack, the propane's just a
Propane,
generator.
The current balance is,
propane.
I made this myself.
You deserve a raise, Mike.
Water test.
Yeah.
Water projects accounts.
Yeah, we hit that hard.
Horrendous. Alright,
Yeah, yeah, propane, Mike.
Is that right?
propane, you guys resolved that? Justin and I talked about this, and this is, we used the historicals to make this
Yep.
work, so. You okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Water tests, so our current expenditures are $32.95. Justin's waiting on some billing and believes that the $6,600 will cover it for this year and next year, so.
Did you see 22 actuals? It's 23,000.
Yeah, it's they're combined, sewer and water tests were combined into the same line item that year, for whatever weird reason.
Okay.
See how sewer test below it has nothing?
Yep.
And there's $22,000
Okay.
for,
Gotcha.
yep, so, it's just an oddity. There was enough good information in the 2022 actuals to actually put the column there, so that's why I did it, but in those scenarios, it's a shit show. Not my fault. I can tell you that. Alright,
Ice for samples. Keep samples cold.
It's like,
Justin's gonna save us $25 by going to the fire station for that going forward.
Yep.
Swing through on his way around, doing rounds or something. Alright,
Really, the only thing we use the ice for is the toxicity samples.
yeah,
We just pack the coolers right full because they're gonna be, they come here to pick it up, and I'm not even sure where they go with it, so.
gotcha. $22,000 for, the sewer tests. Talked that over, and that's going to, cover it, even with, current testing. It's a little unclear why the 2024 expenditures are so low. There are some tests that are, some billing for tests and some tests that are yet to be done, but it does seem quite low, so.
And 23 was really high.
And 23 at the end of the year was over. I was expecting sewer tests to be high for quite some time because of the heightened testing amounts that Underwood was asking us for, but it appears that 22 is gonna cover us. We increased this last year based on that because 2023's budgeted was 10.4, so we increased it last year assuming that what we were gonna need to test was gonna be higher, and that's where we're at. So, Social Security, this needs to be adjusted a little bit for the change in the the 50,000 that we took out from up above. But other than that, it's relatively close. State retirement, this needs, what's 75 times 13%, folks? $7,500 plus $9,600. Wow, that wasn't even close to typing in the right numbers. 9750. So if I take 9750 out of this, that'll put us at about 19.6. So that's gonna get us closer on that. Legal expenses, we've talked about this a couple of times, but left that up a little bit to deal with that, which sounds like I'm gonna spend some of it right away. Not till next year, but. Telephone, we actually have a telephone down here. Jeremy recommended working with them to get it onto voice over internet protocol. Should save us a decent amount of money. I could talk to him further about that. Cell phones, I think he had a response to this as well. Nope, there's no comment on the cell phone, so cell phone looks like it's gonna be a little bit off budget for the year. So we'll check with Sarah to make sure that 1,200 is gonna be good. We weren't really sure if that was gonna cover it or not. Based on historicals, it doesn't look like it's gonna cover it, but.
We just got these phones.
Yeah,
You
I
just
thought
got
we
that policy.
had, yeah, I thought we had like,
Cause they had flip phones,
Right, and then we got,
and then we got these, wherever it is.
Yeah, is this for the service itself, or
Yeah.
all the above?
No, I know, but I think they
It's for the
changed the
service.
whole program, I thought.
right, and it was resulting in some
less
flat
payment.
rate, yeah, some flat rate a month. Yeah, we need to look into it.
Cause it was less money.
Almost looks like $108 a month.
For 2 phones is not terrible. So that's probably right. I just don't know when we did that, and we've had $1,200 in this line item for a while, and in 23 it was $1,747. Well, we left it alone because we were assuming it was going to be a new lower rate, and it looks like we're going to be a little bit over this year. So it's probably accurate, and we just need to change that 1,200 to the right number, whatever that is. So
I think it happened right when Rhonda got hit back.
yeah, so that would be in, well, that was November of, so it might have been this year. It might have been 24 that it actually changed. She came back in November of 23. That's when she got back. Yeah, she was here 6 months.
You're right.
So that cell phone's only $100 and something dollars, probably difference to make a change here, so it's not gonna be real detrimental to what we're deciding on here. Training, hiring, and testing, we left that at that number. Have spent some in the past, nothing this year. Justin anticipates us being, using this a little bit more given what we're trying to do with Tobin. Travel reimbursements, same idea. Most of this goes, you would use a company vehicle for any travel based on what Justin discussed, but we'll leave it in here in case anybody needs to use their own personal vehicle for something. The likelihood is high given the condition of our vehicles. All right, trash removal. Justin confirmed that that's still a good number. Calibrating lab equipment, same story. Uniforms, same story. I encourage that we actually use that line item and look sharp down here. Vehicle repairs, 2011 GMC. I put the same note on both of these. We're looking to purchase a truck this year, but we'll leave this in the budget just in case we decide one versus the other, or however we're gonna do this. So when we get to the end of the budget, I got some actual warrant article type things to talk about. And this will probably be part of that discussion, but we'll left those repair numbers in here. As you can see, not replacing the 2008 Ford this year cost us $9,000. So that's a real pisser. That's a 1/6 of the way to the new one. Vehicle fuel, diesel, that was confirmed that that's still a good number. Gasoline, still a good number.
So we're buying gas, so I just wanna, we're buying gas at the state barn,
Yep.
not.
Unless we're, like the other day, I was about out, I was like, just fill it up there. But a lot of times, like the smaller stuff, like if we gotta fill up the gas can for the saws and stuff, I'll just do it right there. Instead of going all the way to Range for 5 gallons.
Do we have a debit card down here? You guys got a debit card for the account? Okay. We need to do the math on that sometime. We talked about this, and
That's-
in the past, we actually had 2 people, like, drive all the way to get gas in one truck. You know, that's just silly anyway. I mean, we should be doing that, but even one person, you gotta wonder, like, after paying that person to drive all the way to Ringe and come back, what is the
That's
math?
what
you
I
know?
was curious
Is it
about
even
that
worth
too.
doing?
Yeah.
And you being, and that person not being here to be able to do work here, when we could just go down to the Minimart and buy it there, put it on the debit card, and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, diesel, well, you're going either all the way up to T-Bird or
Well,
regardless.
there again, I mean, $584 in that truck, it seems awful light.
We haven't put very many miles on it. It's been broken down half the time.
It was
I mean, we're talking
last
about a whole year. It hasn't
I
been
know.
broke down that much. Like that, this just don't seem right.
What does the gas cost at that thing, that place?
I'm not sure what
I
the
think it
dollar
just
amount
avoids
is.
the tax.
Yeah. That should be taxes then too.
I think
This
it is. I
tank
think that's
does-
why it's-
What?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ringe.
Well, both of them are.
Yeah.
I don't think we pay taxes. We don't have to pay, I mean, we can run off-road fuel in our trucks. Cause we don't
Yeah.
have to pay taxes on fuel.
It would be ideal to just do it at the town account and have the town charge us. That would be ideal, but I don't know if that's a possibility or not, so.
Well, that's what's happening with, down the range, right?
Yeah, we get an invoice from the state.
We do.
Yep.
Yep. Water sewer department or the town?
Water sewer department.
Yep, good. Alright, so those are the 2 fuel numbers. Repairs 95 Kubota tractor, $450 in there. That's been covering it for years, so it's pretty solid. Lawnmower repairs, that's been parked for decades, so we got $1 in there in case we ever wanna take it out of hibernation. John Deere tractor repairs, this is for anything necessary, but you're expecting to put blades on it this year, right? So you wanted to make sure there's enough in there for that, plus any repairs, so. Small engine repair, we got $1 in that, in case we need something for that. Generator repairs and maintenance, so $5,000, I mean, we blew it out of the water in '23, and this year has been better, and assuming that it's gonna get better, we've replaced one generator and we plan to do more, but it seems that $5,000 should stay in there, and we shouldn't be looking to cut that at this point. We did increase it from 23 to 24 to the $5,000. Justin and I discussed and thought that was sufficient, so. Still good with that, Justin?
Yep.
With all the generator stuff going on?
Yep.
Okay, good. Generator fuel, that is going to be sufficient, probably more than enough, although we do plan to exercise more regularly based on Courtney's plan, so we might need a little more. Small tools, this is what we discussed earlier, wrenches, drills, that type of thing. Road repair, cold patch, and hot top, this is for when we're digging up the road, we need to put any one of those things in there. I think the road repair is probably for gravel, but it is for repairing when we're working on a main break or something like that. Based on historicals, the $2,000 is more accurate than what we had in the past, so it got an increase. Justin agreed. Weed control, we left this up. They've been doing their own weed control since Tom left, but left it up just in case they wanted to go third party again with that service we used the one time there. That 2023 expenditure of $1,016 was when we used that service, so. If we did that once a year, that would be enough. If we did it twice a year, we'd be a little over budget, but let Justin sort that out. The alarm system is for, sewer only. I did switch this up since we talked the other day, Justin. That's accurate, so I think it's an annual charge. The SCADA system is $3,300 annual charge. Obviously, we haven't seen that bill yet for 2024. It's been $2,050, so I don't know why we continue to keep it at $3,300, but we'll see what 2024 comes in at, and if it continues to be this $2,050 for the SCADA system, then that's what the budget needs to be, so I don't really know why it's up like that. Justin, do you know? I don't think we talked about that in any great deal. We got more confused about the fact that it was in the wrong column.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Okay, I don't either. We'll see what the bill is for that, and then go from there. Workers' comp, this is one that I've got from Jeremy. Let's see what he said. Yeah, no workman's comp. I think we need to settle in on the final figures for our, which we've done tonight, for what we expect to have for payroll, and that, based on our experience, I think that's gonna matter, so. I think I did some math on what he had, given us based on payroll, and, this 3090 is a little bit high because I think it still has the 75,000 for that one position instead of the 26, so it's gonna be a little bit less than this, but it should be fairly close. Chemicals. We talked about this at the beginning of the meeting, so this should be 53,000, correct?
Yep.
It's awful. It's ridiculous. Alright, the next one is state permits. That $100 covers something, not really sure what, but we spend it sometimes we don't, so I'm not really sure what the story is behind that one. I don't
Yeah, I don't know.
think Justin and I spent any time on that either.
I don't know, I made some calls about Facet Brook Dam and some fees that were involved in that, and they, I don't know, they were a one-time fee that might have been around a couple of years ago, maybe it was that 2023, I don't know. They said that was it after that.
That $50,
It
so
might
we
have
might
been
not
that.
even need this line item,
Right.
or we could put $1 in it
Right.
if that's the case, and then, yep. And it looks to me like, well, the way that I have this formulated, it is a sewer only fee, so that wouldn't even be Facet Brook anyway, so. Yeah, it's a sewer only budget fee, so, and there's $50 in 23, nothing in 24 so far, nothing in 22, so, I don't know. Anyway, not a huge deal. We can figure it out. Auditors, this one I had, actually Jeremy has a comment in here, so auditors,
I believe the town's been paying the auditor just period, cause then we get all the
That's-
audits done.
that might be happening. I know when Rhonda was here, she said, we haven't been audited down here. So I don't know what that means. I don't understand, I don't know the underpinnings of the auditing process for the water sewer department and how it's different from the town, but
I think it all goes to the town for auditing purposes.
yeah, so I don't know. I know, yeah, that needs to be looked into, because his comment was, do we know if this is something the water sewer paid for back when the financial work was still being done over there? So it seems like financial work is, because the financial work, he must be talking about the office work like AP and payroll and all that is now up there. Is the audit just part of the town now?
I think
So,
it is.
Okay, we'll wanna confirm that and figure out what that, and we should be paying our portion of that, so. We have $1,600 in here, and that used to cover it, and we haven't paid it for a while, so I'm not sure when we should have been paying that or whatever, but it should be reimbursed to the town, for sure. If there is some, whatever component belongs to us, we can figure that out. And just to make sure that the auditors are, yes, in fact, we've audited the water sewer books, you know, and they are at least up to the same date that the town is, what's the town up to now?
We're working on 22 now.
Perfect, yeah, so, yeah, no, that's good, that's very good news. Alright, so this gives us a new grand total of $651,728.53. Obviously that's, you know, close. It's not terribly far off. There's a couple of numbers that need to be adjusted, mostly having to do with payroll, but we took out the big lump stuff that belonged to that position that we decided not to do. So, what did we start with? What do you guys have on your piece of paper at the bottom?
731, 245.
Okay, so we dropped it down by $80,000. So we're still looking at an increase of
97,230, which is 17.5%. Over 24.
Okay. And again, it's still mostly attributed to staffing. We just managed it a little bit better. By doing that, we've created a budget surplus as revenue is compared to budget by about $40,000, I think. There was a budget deficit of 44, now it's a budget surplus of $40,000. So we can get by 2025 without having to raise rates. Not that we can do that indefinitely, but that's the way that what we've decided tonight will result in. Okay, any other thoughts on that before I move on to the next parts of the budget, which is the capital parts?
Oh,
yes.
abatement line.
Thank you. See, yeah, I should remind me about that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So we should put in a line for abatements. So I think what we need to do is look at those old figures and kind of look at what we might just be cleaning, you know, the house cleaning number, what that might be, and maybe add a little bit to it and put that in for an abatement line item. It's really just an in and out number. It'll make the budget arbitrarily high when it's really just refunding people their money essentially. But because the income side doesn't run through the budget side, you have to show it on the budget side. So, yeah, so I don't know who can do that, but take a look at the past due accounts and figure out we're definitely never collecting, add it up, throw a close number into it, and then we can put it into a,
Do you still have that sheet?
It's gonna be a group effort, don't you think? Cause I mean, not everyone,
Well, I think we pick a time frame. You know, anything past 7 years.
well, I don't think that's a good idea.
well, I think some of them are definitely, flat out, we're never collecting that.
Well, there's some, yeah, absolutely,
some
but
that
there
are
is some
impossible.
on there that it's still the same property owner.
Well, I think, yeah, so you need to
I
put
mean, the
some-
one he's referring to being that old is still the same property owner.
Well, I think you need to apply some methodology first, right? So you need to say, okay, here's the dollar threshold that we're willing to go through the process of attaching the property, right? Like, so if it's $100, we're not gonna bother attaching the property, it doesn't matter how old it is. If it's $3,000, yeah, we're gonna attach the property so that when they, you know, whatever, when they wanna sell that property, we can actually get a piece of that. But we gotta, and then look at an aging component and say anything older than 24 months, less than $100 automatic abatement, you know, or whatever. Something along those lines. I don't know what that methodology should be, but
Well,
I think
take
that-
a
I don't know.
shot.
Well, there's things in that, like if you gonna attach a piece of property, there's a fee for that, isn't there?
oh yeah, yep, there would be all the legal fees that go along with that.
So, you know, what's our cost? Yeah.
Yep, yep, you would add that in, and time is the most important thing. Like if you're going after $100, our time is worth way more than $100. We just
Oh, absolutely.
just 86 that, but. if
Well,
you're
I
going
mean,
after
it is
$3,000,
one of the properties, the oldest one, that went vacant,
Yep.
and it's not.
Maybe you go line by line, Courtney. Maybe that's the,
I
maybe
think that's-
methodology isn't the way to do it. Maybe you go one at a time.
Like, there's no reason that bill can't be paid, and sooner or later, it's gonna be paid.
Perfect. I found a volunteer, Mike.
Well, I don't know every one of them, that's why I'm saying it's gonna have to be a group effort, because
Yeah.
there's some, I mean, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot, but I mean, again.
I'll probably know some of them too.
That's what I'm getting at, there's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of them in there that you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I picked up like on 5 of them.
Right, but some of there's only one that's really substantial. Meaning like over $600. I'll put together something to just, I'll send it out to the group when
Have them export that into an Excel and see how fun that is. Just had that done with the budget. Sarah's like, I'm sorry, this is all I can get. I'm like, oh, I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I'll just rework the PDF.
Well, I mean, honestly, you can just probably copy it down and
You
homework.
can,
I'll
Evan
give
has
you-
it, has Excel.
I don't need anything. I'll put together just some quick, I'll do some dates and total amounts and then we can come up with something, but, I mean, we need it before then, right, so.
And we don't actually have to, I mean, honestly, if you went through it and said, well, it looks like about this number and then we'll get the detail later, we can put that number in the budget
Okay.
and then figure it out later.
Alright.
So it doesn't have to be super accurate right now.
What was the total on it? It was like 38,000, right?
No, 46.
Yeah, so that's a real number.
That's a real number.
No, so you're right, it was 38. But I mean, the old ones, yeah. $400. Like the ones that are really old.
Yeah, but there's like 5 of them there. I think 3 of them have passed away. There's
Right.
6 of them, 5 or 6 of them that the buildings aren't even there anymore.
We can lean the plot.
There's 2 in here worth one. I
Dark
think,
humor.
but I'll give you some info and we can, right, I'll give a number and we can hash it out.
I mean, and there again, we don't even know how many of those are wrong. Straight up wrong.
Well, what I liked about it was, yeah, there's some people in here that we can talk to without throwing names out in the air, that we can try and see if it's accurate for them, and then kind of use that to see if it's accurate for other people as well.
Oh, the old 14 Woodland Park is paid. It is now. Herb thought I paid it, I thought he paid it, so.
Oh.
It's all set.
Hey, that was on my
I put
advantage
that-
one time.
I put that right in the,
Should've
yeah.
put two-
Yeah, sometimes we pay twice.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to see in the future from this list is instead of the map and lot would be the actual physical address. Because it just gives map and lot numbers.
Yeah, converting that to address would be ideal for anybody looking at the list. I think she has that option in, she
Yeah,
must have that
yeah.
option in the system.
But this is way better than the original thing.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that and looked much better.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you some preliminary.
All right, and we'll create a new line for that, which would be good. All right, so the other things that I had on here were, so as it stands right now, we have an account under the Public Deposit Investment Pool, PDIP, that is a water and sewer account. I wish I had brought the actual warrant articles that created this account. So some monies came out of capital reserve accounts to create this account a while ago, and I can't find where this account is one single account. When the warrant articles created an account for water and an account for sewer. Not savings accounts, those are separate. Not our what we call project accounts.
Yeah.
Those are separate. So in the warrant articles that I could find, and I didn't find anything after the fact, and to be honest, I didn't look at every single year thereafter, but around that time frame, I didn't find anything after the fact that created one single capital reserve account, essentially. So we've been spending out of this PDIP account for water and sewer indiscriminately. And I don't know, we need to look closer at that. But in looking closer at that, we may need to just have to ratify what's going on in the account structure, that what the town wanted to do back in 2009 or 10, whenever that was, and what we've been doing, and then just change what we have left over to at least say whatever's left, this is going to be for water and this is going to be for sewer, something along those lines. Ratify that maybe through a town vote or what have you. But at that time, both of those capital reserve funds, the agents to expend on those, meaning the people that are allowed to expend, are the water sewer department and the select board. So town meeting gets to choose that. So if it says no agents to expend, then you have to go to town meeting to spend out of that account. If it has agents to expend listed, you have, and there's an and in there, you have to get approval from both. So what I think the Water Sewer Commission should do is ask the select board to create a warrant article that addresses the account itself and finally identifies it as what it's supposed to be. A capital reserve account that has this much money in for water and this much money in for sewer, or establish two separate capital reserve accounts because that's how the state wants you to do it. And then make the agents to expend on it the water and sewer department only. So this is part of the reason we couldn't get a truck last year. The select board didn't want to sign off on this because of legal reasons. So if there's a legal issue between the water department and the selectman's office, we can't have that prevent us from buying a truck. So we need to purchase, which was, you know, we found the pain of that this year, which has cost us $9,000 this year. So I think we should do that. So I can head up that effort if you all want me to. When we meet at the select board at their budget night, we'll have it ready to present at that time. And if they don't want to create the warrant articles, we have the option to do a petition warrant article to bring to town meeting on our own. So we have multiple ways to get it there. Those warrant articles belong to the select board unless they're petition warrant articles. So they have to put it on our behalf if they want to. So we have to ask them to do it.
And that's, if you guys wanna do that, we put a due date for those of February 6th.
Right. For the petition or the or warrant articles in general?
Warrant
Warrant article. Yeah, we'll start the conversation now. That way we're prepared. So.
And all of us can do research trying to figure out what the heck.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Created for.
Yep, and that's fine. The next one I had on the list was new truck/trucks. What do we want to do with this? I think we just revisit what we were doing last year, period, right? Like we just bring that back to life and institute it for 2025 and make it happen. We've since determined that we have two giant junkers. So I didn't know if we wanted to, what were we looking at for that Ford last year?
Regular cab, F-250, with a, 8-foot plow. I still have I might even have them right here. I'll pull it up, but just a.
Tailgate lifter, right?
We bought that.
Yeah.
So we can move that over from this truck.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah.
What?
It's logged in there.
I wasn't sleeping at all.
my question for, and I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but my question for you would be, would something like a Maverick,
That's exactly what we talked about the other day.
work as a second truck? 'Cause
Yeah.
they're like 20 grand.
Absolutely.
Right?
They're literally saying the same thing we
Yeah.
just
Okay.
discussed the other day.
Right.
What are we gonna keep the Chevy then?
Well, I mean, I guess that's my question is, do we need two full-size trucks?
Well, we just bought a liftgate, put it on the Chevy because we were planning on
Right,
taking a
but will
liftgate.
that fit on?
I don't know, I guess I don't know what a Maverick is, I was thinking they're
Oh,
smaller
it's
trucks.
definitely
Yeah.
not gonna fit on a Maverick, but would it fit on the F-250?
No,
Oh,
that's why because we were we said we were going
I
that
would-
route because we were gonna be able to put in the.
I asked specifically, when we were buying that liftgate, I said, can it be transferred over to a new truck when we get one? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, a full-size truck, another used full-size truck, a
Right,
Maverick's not.
F-250.
Yeah, no,
No,
because we're gonna
for
get a
two-
250. We're not getting the Maverick instead of that.
I thought you were
no,
headed down the
is
Maverick.
The Maverick
No,
is a
Maverick
second
and a-
cheap vehicle, like an
addition.
estimator vehicle, or somebody they can run around and do rounds with, or whatever.
Meters,
and-
right, like
yeah.
all that stuff.
Dodge
just a-
Transit.
Yeah.
Ford Transit.
I guess.
Yeah, this is
So
the-
you're
this-
talking about getting rid of the Ford too? Are we keeping the?
We can get a new truck, we don't have to get rid of anything, right, technically, we can just,
Well, I'm getting confused here, so are we keeping the Ford and getting rid of the Chevy and getting a full-size truck and a Maverick? Is that the
I think we're
conversation?
having a conversation around, can we get away with one new truck, or do we really need two new trucks?
So my suggestion that I talked to Justin about the other day was get the full-size Ford that we're planning on. I mean, like stripped down work truck, right? Like just an F-250, full-size truck. move the lift gate onto it, hopefully it goes on there, move the lift gate onto the full-size truck. Will it go on there?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good, we've established that, so that's good. So, and then, buy the Maverick, which is like, they're like 20 grand, they're four-wheel drive, little, like a Ranger, little truck, for our second vehicle, sell both the trucks that we have to fund the second vehicle. Take the old plow, put it on the new full-size pickup truck, because the old plow is usable. You talked about,
Yeah,
Bert
it's
said it was usable.
But the what? The old plow and the new truck?
Like
The
old
new
plow and
truck
the
came with the plow though. We're not
The
saving
quotes
it.
we got, it was with the plow.
Yeah, it was pennies for a
Oh,
plow.
if it's
Yeah.
basically free for the plow, then we'll sell the plow with the other truck and use that to fund the Maverick. That was my idea, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ford's only got 50,000 miles on it, so, and we had this discussion when we were going to fix it, if we were gonna put this money into it. We put $10,000 into it because the mechanic said that it's only got 50,000 miles on it and it's worth saving.
Right, well, I think the conversation we had also was, if we put that money into it, can we at least sell it for that amount?
Right.
And the answer was, yeah, we could probably at least get our money back when we sell it. So is this thing gonna continue to give us problems? If it's not, then,
The way I understood it from the mechanic, he didn't think so.
I just know Justin rode his bike one day, and we're gonna try to not have that happen anymore.
Well-
I got him at home, but yeah, we were 54 and change, and it wasn't like an XL. It was one step up so that you didn't get shit bumpers and all that, like you.
The XLT.
Yeah, but like a base on that. So basically, instead of getting painted bumpers that chip and rot out, it came with chrome bumpers,
Yeah.
but it was still a base model. It was just it saved you the it upgraded where you needed it, and without spending a fortune. And Hillsborough gave quite a discount, which was great. Monadnock Ford was like retail plus. But yeah, we were 54 and change, I think.
So what are you thinking, Courtney?
Brand
Keep what we have?
I don't.
A
think we
brand
should
new
be-
Tahoe with wee woo lights.
Whatever.
We definitely need a truck, right? Well, I mean, if that was the case, if we were gonna run that forward, we just get the Maverick, right? But,
Well, we can't do that because the lift gate won't go on that.
all right,
Yeah,
right.
so that's what Courtney was getting at to begin with.
Were you talking the Hillsborough quote?
Yeah,
58.8.
okay, it was 54 and then some for the truck, I mean, probably,
53 for the truck, and then all the discounts and all that, and then all the
and then
the plow was $7 grand.
So it wasn't.
I don't think we wanna be, I mean, what, is that a minimum amount too, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a minimum too.
And just by the time you start mixing matching electronics and push blades and all that, but, would it?
So let's put a pin in that for a second.
Yeah.
Deciding, after we decide what we wanna do, where are we gonna get the funds from?
Are we looking to own it outright, or do what we were gonna do last time, cause that wasn't actually that bad, but.
So that's one of the issues with now the select board would have to weigh in on this, because if we lease anything, entering into a lease can only be done, regardless of what department does it, can only be done by the select board. So bonds and leases can only be taken out by the select board. So
Was that
if they
what we-
deny us again, then we would have to pay for it outright, which we have the funds in the PDIP account. I think we have 85 in there. Did I look at that correctly?
Right there.
85 in the PDIP account. So we do have the funds in there to purchase the truck. Other option is to do this by general taxation through an actual warrant article. Ask the taxpayers to buy us a truck. Again, giving your new Facebook page a handsome workout. Day one.
Well, I mean, you can set that out however you like, you don't even have to accept outside from the area. We just
I'm just
informational
kidding
thing.
anyway.
But yeah, no, I know.
Well,
It'll give it some, it'll give Facebook to work
I would
out.
hope there'd be no reason that they would not allow us to.
No, because they've denied John, and John's was in a PDIP. They've denied Chiefs, and his was in a PDIP. People fought that, getting a brand new cruiser, and that was money already done.
I'm saying
set
they,
aside.
you guys.
Yeah,
Oh, I
the
see.
lease.
Oh, because of the issues that you guys are a separate entity and all that. That's what caused it.
We're still paying for it. We just need the authority to get the money.
Bring it forward. I mean, you guys have the money in the PDIP. You've had the money in the PDIP. You didn't.
We used to have 160, now we got 85, so it has been going towards other important things that we need to be able to spend on, so.
Yeah, the ideal way would have been how
Yes.
we wanted to do it last year, which would have been, cheap and over time. And,
Yeah,
with a really attractive rate, so.
Yep, expense smoothing is another thing about getting the lease. I mean, you pay a little bit of interest on it, but it smooths out your expenses and allows your savings account, just like a home budget, it allows your savings account to have money in it so that you can spend it on projects that you need. If we smoke it all on 2 trucks, we can't borrow any money mid-year to spend on money that we don't have in PDIP. And we can check with council on this too, like NHMA possibly. We could probably do a petition warrant article for this and do it as a lease purchase. And do the petition warrant article like that. And then once a warrant article is authorized by the legislative body, the select board has no choice. They gotta sign off on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
you
guess
can get
they could say no at that point, but
You,
on what grounds?
you can probably get a lift gate to fit that Maverick too, and just buy a $20,000 truck. I mean, we're only moving once a week, right?
I hate to say
Not
it, but,
even.
yeah.
Pretty funny looking.
Well, I mean, Johnny
I'm just
bought a
gonna
new
laugh
truck
at
last
Justin
year.
with that.
He got approval from the taxpayer for a new truck, and with the word saying that the select water board was gonna be able to use the other truck. So, our plow truck goes down.
But they spent their own money that they've been putting away out of their PDIP. That's what I'm saying. It's been a PDIP.
20 pounds.
They didn't buy that truck out of taxation?
No, well, it's out of the taxation from PDIP, the money that's been put away over time.
I think we need a full.
Yeah, but he
size,
still used that as justification that this department was gonna be able to use the truck. Yeah, pull it, yeah, read it out loud so we can.
Maybe we put the lift gate in the back of that Maverick, you'd exceed the payload.
It doesn't have much. Just the
I don't even know what it
liftgate
looks like.
alone.
Is that like a Ford Ranger?
It's like a Ranger.
It's
It's
like
the
a Ranger,
new.
it's smaller, and it's like a unibody, the bed is not separate, it's all one piece.
Oh.
And
To
it's-
see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $120,000 for the purpose of purchasing a dump truck and all necessary equipment for the operation of the highway department, and see if the town will authorize withdrawal of the same from the highway department capital reserve fund. Majority vote required. Because we can't, we have to still get it in.
I understand that, but that's not what my point is, he still told the people that the reason why was so we could use, this department could use the other truck.
Yeah, the Maverick is cool because it's basically just it's got a
So it's
truck
like,
bed.
what do they call these VW things?
On the Ridgeline or whatever. it is.
Yeah, right.
No, it's a little bit more of a truck than that. I know a couple guys that got them, and they use them as commuters for their businesses, and they throw,
So
exactly
you
what
put
we
stuff
do.
in there, you gotta
Shift
run the Home
tools.
Depot for something, you
Right.
got room in the back.
Right.
Are those aluminum also, or?
I don't know, it's a good question.
No, I mean, there again, I mean, the liftgate wasn't that much, I mean, we just put one on the,
Well, no, I think we need a full-size truck. I think we should have something that's.
And if that truck's got some life left in it, I mean, the used truck market right now is stupid good, like stupid good. So it seems to me that we sell that truck, you know, sell the trucks that we have, upgrade them. The new ones will last forever, and we got to get a freaking maintenance program. I mean, that Ford out there is rotted right through.
Oh yeah.
Like it's got no. You look under that, and it doesn't have a
GMC is
drop of oil underneath there. It's like this thing has never been. Nobody gave a crap about this thing.
I oiled both of those trucks every single year.
You did.
I did, 100%. And Lepisos did it one year because Bert didn't believe me.
Why?
And the
Why
thing
is it like that?
I
Well,
have
the body on them, the Reading body is they're
Those
terrible for
always-
that. But
Right.
The thing is, I've never
They're
oiled a
like-
single one of my personal vehicles, and I've never had the rust problem.
the oil's causing it.
No, I'm not saying that's the case, but I don't know. It's
They just
It's
don't
the-
look cared
it's the-
for at all.
it-
They
It's the,
just,
it's the barrel that had the caustic in it that he didn't save the oil in.
yeah.
no, it's a friggin'
I got a
the 5-gallon jug of 5-gallon bucket of ATF out there with it's got some bar and chain mixed into it.
I got a 2004 with 180,000 on it, 140,000 on it, that is finally falling apart. But when babied, and I worked it, I used that for work, and I hauled all kinds of shit with it, and F-350, and it's finally starting to rot through and all of that. And I know it comes eventually, but it just seems to me that I don't know why the trucks in town just don't last.
There's probably still 4 mil plastic out there. I used to lay it all out, put the thing right up on jack stands, and I would spend a couple hours under each truck.
Well, I stand corrected. I
Whole
don't know why
thing's
it's
steel
doing
except
that.
for the tailgate and the hood. Those are aluminum.
Everything else is steel on it. No. In any case, the funding mechanism is what we need to really decide on, I guess at this point, and we should. I think what we should be doing is asking to do a lease purchase on
I agree.
on 1 or 2 vehicles. So, what do we want? But that's probably what we want to decide tonight too. Is do we want to go to the select board because we're going to meet with them? What's our meeting with the select board?
Thursday.
This Thursday?
17.
Oh, next Thursday. I'm like, holy shit, that's tomorrow.
No,
Oh.
Thursday would be that. Tomorrow is candidates night.
Yeah.
Following Thursday would be the meeting.
So next Thursday, that's fine. So I guess if we want to come forward with, do we want to do the F-250 or the Maverick or both? That's the decision we need to make.
Well, at minimum, I think if we're gonna do one, it'd be the F-250.
Yep.
If we had to do the Maverick on our own, at least it doesn't hurt as bad. Looks like they're in the high 20s, something like that. I think asking for 2, well, I mean, we're paying for them, right, so. We're talking, what, 90 grand for 2 of them?
Should be less. I don't know. I would.
I'm just using even numbers, you know,
Yeah,
60
but I'd
for a truck.
I'd really consider keeping the plow that we have if we can. You know, if it's $7,000 for the plow setup, which is what it sounded like. That's what you saw on that
Well,
sheet.
you're gonna be
right?
buying electronics on the truck side regardless of push plates, right, cause that ain't gonna line up, so you're gonna be buying everything truck side.
Okay, so
I don't know what that saves. I don't know what the blades
Yeah.
cost.
well, let's consider it with plow. Let's do it with plow,
Yeah.
and then we just need to know if we want to do the F-250 or both, because it wouldn't be the Maverick by itself, by the sounds. Justin, 2 cents.
I like
not the employee. I want all nice shit. 2 cents. The economical, own your own business. 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
I like the idea of trying to lease the F-250
Mhm.
and then selling both of those and using that money to get the Maverick.
You know, and the other thing that involves in this too is that this includes all repairs for the
Yeah.
next,
That's
3 to 5
big.
years.
Right, yeah, cause this should be
It's a
minimal.
drop off and pick
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
right? Yeah, you know, obviously do maintenance, but there'd be no repairs.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that too. I think that's
yeah,
a good
I mean,
solve.
it saves, it's a payment, but it's also all your repairs in that payment and all that stuff. I like that idea. I think you're right, a photograph of that truck and someone's gonna pay money for it.
Yeah.
No matter what, especially with the mileage on it.
Yep.
And when they see it, they'll be a little disappointed, but.
Yeah, you sell it with plow too, and there's extra there, so if we're gonna buy a truck with plow. Alright, so we'll go to the select board next week with a request to do a lease purchase of a new Ford F-250. We can handle the rest of it ourselves, so. Cause we can sell off the other two and buy the Maverick with the proceeds using, some available funds from either the project accounts or the PDIP.
I would dare to say we'd be pretty close. Well, close enough. We'd be at least halfway there.
Yeah. Okay.
You'd be shocked at what people pay for, you probably.
Okay, so the next one I have on here, we're not done yet. Actually, this is the last one because the bond payment line we discussed. The multi-year fire hydrant project. What are you guys' thoughts and plans on that? What are you thinking about for cost for 2025 and how do you want to fund it?
What was there, 11 or 12 hydrants?
Here. I think it was 10.
Yeah, I had
Yeah, I thought it was 11, one more than 10.
Something like that, yeah.
You're talking
He said
five-
11, but
five
I
one
think
year?
11, but 10, 11, the 11th one was getting done because it's birds.
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
There was 10 left after birds.
10 of them after
You're
birds.
talking 5 1 year and 5 another year.
But he said there was grants too.
There are grants.
I looked, the only thing I could find was FEMA, and they have a ton of money right now.
Yeah. I think it might be headed to
I'm like, wow, Justin watches the weirdest news.
Yeah.
No, they have none.
$750 from what I hear.
I don't know
Yeah.
if this was
They could buy a 6-inch
Yeah, they
gauge.
give you a debit card in a place where you can't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this was last meeting or the last one I was at, but, we had talked, or at least you guys had talked about it being, it's a town asset at that point, right? Like, it's not necessarily a water and sewer subscriber asset, it's a, those
What
would be
is?
used, the
hydrants,
hydrants,
the
right?
hydrant.
Yeah, and the use of that water for houses that are not on the system or
Yep.
anywhere on it, so, that's an asset to the entire town and not just.
Yep. And I think the way it was described to us was, that yes, a house on fire on West Hill could absolutely benefit from it because they'd be sending a reserve tanker or something down to fill up off the town system as opposed to, a fire pond or something like that, cause it's more efficient. Is that what I understand?
Well, it'd probably be a secondary water source.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, when Mark had discussed a recent fire, he had said that they would hook to a hydrant first and then look for a secondary source in the body of water.
Yeah.
And I think it would be the opposite up on West Hill, right? They'd look for a body of water and then the hydrant would be the secondary source.
Okay. But
yeah,
the potential is there for
Yeah,
for
I
access to
mean, I
that
lived in
water.
a house before that we were at the end of the line, we had a hydrant in front of the house, and there was a woods fire, and they were trucking from that hydrant all day and night
Yeah.
during that fire, so, yeah.
Especially dead of winter, how are you getting at a water source in the dead of winter other than the hydrant?
Right.
Yeah.
There's ways, but.
So anyway, so 5 hydrants a year, if you wanna replace those 10, this is a 2-year project, is that what we're thinking?
Yep.
Okay, what is the cost of that? 5
Roughly
hydrants?
about 10,000 per hydrant.
Okay, so we're talking $50,000, it's not huge. So the funding source, Mike, you were leaning in on that, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking of all the things that we
I can
could do.
tell you right now, you're not on the system, but you would benefit from hydrants right at the end of the,
Right.
right at the end of the park
Well,
there.
yeah.
Just got
So-
flushed today.
So, I think of all the things that we can go to town for, I think makes the most sense, right?
Yeah.
And if the goal is that we're all in this together in town and all of that,
Yeah, because the water sewer department doesn't get any revenue from people using the fire hydrant.
right,
Right,
We don't charge them,
right.
okay? And it's, we maintain it because we're the most technically capable group as opposed to the firemen doing it or the select board trying to do it.
Yep.
There's a joke.
Because it's legally responsible, whoever puts them in has to legally do it.
Say what?
It's actually a law
A law.
about them, but yes.
I was being somewhat facetious. A little humor is necessary here.
Distribution system.
Once in a while.
But yeah, I think you're right, and what was the statement, and I think all of our, ordinances outline this, is we're not in the business of fighting fire, we're in the business of providing clean water, right? Like that, so it's kind of a secondary thing for us, and we obviously provide it for the same reasons that Bill just stated, so, yeah, no, I think it seems reasonable to ask the taxpayer to help pay for this.
yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Alright, so that would be a warrant article, is 50 gonna cover it, I don't wanna come up short.
I'll crunch some more numbers.
Okay, have those
tomorrow.
ready
Just
for me
follow
by
up.
next Thursday, so when I get to the select board meeting, is it me that's doing this? I'm just like totally volunteering
I won't be
myself,
here,
but-
unfortunately, so it's not me.
No, I just went in and yelled at the select board the other night, so you might not want me there. They might say no to all our stuff.
Yeah, I'll be out of state.
So Justin, you'll have that number ready for next Thursday.
Yep.
We'll present that as a warrant article, a request for a warrant article. We'll do the warrant article request on the PDIP corrections. And then we're going to do a warrant article for a lease purchase of a truck to be paid for out of water sewer rents. And the hydrant is gonna be out of taxation. Hydrant stuff's gonna be out of taxation. Okay, pretty straightforward. And we'll deal with the sale of our trucks and all of that stuff and the purchase of a Maverick on our own. That all can be handled down here. You okay with that, Courtney?
I don't know.
Alright, so we need a vote on the budget, I think, Mike, to move it forward with the numbers, with the caveat in the vote that is, that the HR costs are gonna be adjusted according to actual costs.
Well, and you also have to think about it, if the warrant article goes through, that has to be in your cost as well, in your budget line.
For the payment on the vehicle, yep. Yeah, we can make that adjustment too, so. And the payment for the vehicle doesn't, I mean, that can come from a number of sources as well. We could come out of project accounts for that, we could come out of the PDIP for that, so, that'll work as well, so.
Alright, need a motion on
I make a motion that we, move the budget at $651,728.53 to the select board with the caveat that, small changes are gonna be made based on, actual, costs, primarily HR and incidentals like cell phones and stuff. How's that for a motion, Adam? Read it back to me, would you?
No.
Give it 5
second
minutes
on
after
that?
the meeting ends.
Second.
Get played now.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
do we wanna make any sort of action towards the remainder of the list? The warrant articles and all of that, I mean, it's really the decision of the select board, but I should be presenting it up with some sort of some sort of motion, I would think, behind me. I'll make the motion. So I move that we present to the water department along with to the select board along with the budget, correction to the PDIP warrant articles and the removal of signers, the new full-size pickup lease to purchase to be paid for from water sewer revenues, multi-year hydrant project, first year of 5 hydrants for whatever Justin tells me next week, $50,000 to $60,000, to be paid for by taxation, general taxation, all to the select board. That's another good one for you, Adam. You have to wordsmith the hell out of that. Everybody gets what I was saying though, right?
Get a second on that?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Cardi?
Just thinking about something.
With that said, in the attempt to try to get this moving along, I make a motion to go into non-public under 91A blah 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 L.
I just got a quick question. For Adam. Well, so there's one invoice here for a repair, and it's saying the invoice is the same number.
Can I see?
I've seen this a couple times, and then, but the same, right here, it's 601, 60.
So this is the total. That way they can charge it to water and sewer lines.
Okay,
That's why it's cut right in half.
I got you.
So anytime you
That
see
was
that doubled up.
Okay, so that's why it's doing that.
Yeah.
And a second, we go into non-public?
A23L. Sure.
A32L.
A32L. Aye.
Aye.
You guys are awesome.
Aye.
Taking minutes for this.